good morning, good afternoon, good night. What have you done with your life? What's up, everybody? My name is. Oh, I'm probably a little low. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, I might be a little loud now. Okay. What's up, y'all? My name is Blanco Beats, and with me is my main man to my right hand, this way, pots and pans, Dan, author of the Dan Wayne Wetzel.
What's going on? What's up?
Oh, I just realized I had to fix your camera.
Felt like it's been a while.
It has been just a little while.
Let me plug you all in. So,
how are you, man? How you doing? It's been a while since I've seen you. I think we haven't really seen each other's faces since before the Super Bowl.
Hold on, let me plug this.
Fixing his mic.
Just plug this in a little bit.
Oh yeah, you sound good now. You sound real good now.
I know. It was like because I didn't have it. Now it wants to act up. Sorry about this. It's come on.
Yo, check microphone. Check. Wait. I gotta fix my audio levels too. Son of a bitch. Oh, there you go. That gave me a few peaks and valleys. Yo, welcome to the Quarterback Factory Show. It's been a long time. In fact, it's almost been a whole season. It's a whole new NFL season since we last spoke, unfortunately. So, yes, it's been a little bit while. We haven't had a show since before the Super Bowl. And because, rightfully so, we were all in our emotions. We probably should have went live earlier because, the raw emotions would have been much better. But that's okay. We still got raw emotions. Don't act like it. Don't act like we don't. We still got raw emotions. We're still real. We're still reeling from that defeat. We're still sad and upset, and we're here to talk about it.
It's just hovering over like a dark cloud and just still there, and it's going to be there for a while. And I don't think there's going to be no remedy for it at this time. I mean, it's just a lot of people can probably just move on, but it's just going to be there.
Not Dan and me.
Yeah.
I can't move on.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, it's still tough to think about it, man. It's one of those where it's just I don't want to think about it, and when you do, it's just like, damn, man. I think it's just too where it's just like it's just so close, man. Like I don't know. I just hate the participation trophy that we got too. And now we're feeling the after effects too of, hey, you might have like 5 to 8 people gone that you had on the roster this year too. That's hanging there. I don't think we're gonna, maybe the draft will help, but who knows? I don't know. Maybe
the draft is gonna produce what, if we're lucky, 1 starter.
Yeah.
Maybe 2, if we're lucky, right?
Yeah.
If any. If any. I mean,
and then it just not even with this draft too. It was just it made me think about the prior draft when you drafted Love or Jordan Love and and the linebacker.
That's right, y'all. We drafted Jordan Love.
Yeah, so Jordan Davis, man, like if he's gonna it just I don't know if I mean I get the injury, it's injuries, but it's just that's hanging in the back of my head too. Like, is this dude really what we all the hype that we gave him was just this dude's like.
Hey, that's the thing that a lot of people don't think about, right? Everyone puts weight on this upcoming draft, right? But what you really have to think about is like the people we drafted last draft and the draft before that have been sort of have been coming up, and like their time to shine is about to come.
Yeah.
Like, there was a reason why we drafted them behind certain people, right? Like he's sitting behind Fletch this whole season. There's a reason for that. So like that is a huge investment. It's a huge investment from Howie's standpoint if we're looking at it through Howie eyes. So Absolutely, man. We have to think about that. We can't just sit here and say, "Oh, we have to hit on the next draft." I mean, yeah, we do have to hit on the next draft too, but like we still have some open questions about the previous draft,
Yeah.
and we have hopes. We have hopes
Yeah.
and dreams
Yeah.
about that. And you're right, Jordan.
So if
Jordan
Jordan
Love
Davis,
Davis.
Love Davis, if he can, I mean, it's too early to do anything. Like you can't say he's a bust yet or anything like that. It's way too early.
Oh
The
yeah,
injury, yes, that you know. But there, with the positive between 1 and 3 in the draft last year is what is it? Cam Jurgens. So
yep.
that's a positive. And if anything can bring me out of this dark
Yeah,
cloud of the Super Bowl, that may be one thing of him being able to come in as either Kelsey's replacement or putting him maybe this year starting to
yeah,
put him at what in a position next to Kelsey
yeah.
where
That would be
they
pretty
can
cool to
get
see.
ready. So hey,
That'd be
that
pretty cool
that
to
could be a
see.
positive. And who knows? I know. And then like I was going 1 to 3, got um, Nakobe Dean. So him,
I just
you know,
started
him,
recording, by the way.
oh nice. So Nakobe Dean. So it's like he showed a little bit on special teams. It might be his time to shine too, like you were just saying. These guys, it's might be their time to shine.
Yeah.
So there's a couple positives, but it's still like, did Howie really have a great draft again? And I think it's easy to say that the two Super Bowl teams that Howie put together, he brought in people. He didn't
Yeah.
draft to make these teams. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a very, very difficult
No, I mean the main thing
upcoming
for this
months.
Super Bowl was pretty much just the defense, the people he brought in on the defense. That was the huge factor. And go figure, it was the defense that sort of lost this game for us, so to speak. And a lot of people want to put weight on that on the field, and rightfully so, because I mean the Chiefs didn't have nowhere near the defensive attack that we had. Coming into this game. They didn't have that. So it
Yeah,
didn't really neutralize their defense as bad as it neutralized our defense. Our defense was known as the killers, and they were nothing because of that overwatered fucking grass.
yeah,
And it sucks. But there's a couple things you can say, like, look, this is the Super Bowl. This is the biggest game of the year. And there's a few people that just dropped the ball in the biggest game of the year. One of them being
yeah,
the fucking sod father of the stadium, former Kansas City Chiefs person, and the other one being the fucking ref who called that stupid play. But whatever.
yeah, yeah. And in my opinion, with this, it's just it. You can't. There's been a lot of people that been blaming Gannon for this. I think, in my opinion, it was a whole team loss.
Yep.
Everyone contributed. You
Yeah.
had Hurts that dropped the fumble. You had
Yeah.
special teams that let up that big ass fucking
Yeah.
return, and then
And special
you
teams is
had
the only one
Watkins'
you can
shot.
expect.
It was a whole team loss.
Yeah.
But then it just kills me inside. 3 points, man. 3 points. Oh, that's the killer. It was in their grasps
Dude,
to
I
have
mean,
this game.
if they don't score that defensive touchdown, that's our game. We
Yeah,
won. We
yeah,
scored more offensive points than they did. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about right there is it's not that Jalen Hurts fumbled. It's
no,
it's the penalty that happened before that fumble. We were third
yeah,
and short, I think. We were third and
oh
short.
yeah.
And
Third
it
and
was
short.
it was
Yeah,
like an offsides or something. It was one of those pre-snap penalties that Stoutland reams people's assholes for. It was a pre-snap penalty. I think it might have been St. Malo. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't really recall who it was. It was somebody on the interior, I believe. It could have been anybody. I don't know. It was somebody on the line. It doesn't matter. Those dudes will hold themselves accountable. But that right there, we were third and short. We were pretty much definitely going to get a first down right there, third and short. But
yep,
then pre-snap penalty, sent back. Now it's third and long, third and 16 or 14 or something like. It wasn't. It was like third, whatever, third and a little bit more than 10 yards, right? And then Jalen Hurts fumbled the ball. And they said, like, yeah, they tricked Jalen Hurts because the dude spied instead of blitz or some shit. I don't know. It made him kick out and yada, yada. And then the fumble happened and then a defensive touchdown. And that right there was like, oh, fuck, a defensive touchdown? Oh, that is a huge dagger. It's a huge dagger, and especially in a game like this, and it obviously is because like the game was a fucking electric game. It was a dynamic game. Patrick Mahomes, he had so many opportunities with Travis Kelce, as he does every game. Nobody can stop those motherfuckers. Yeah. And I mean, especially when you put Epps on them. But I feel like the Eagles did good in that regard. They did okay. Like, yeah, in the first half, Kelce had a lot, but I feel like in the second half, not as much, if I remember correctly. But other people had their times and shine and shit. And Mahomes tore it up, and with his fake bum ankle.
Yeah, and you can't really blame the field because
they all played on the same field.
All played, and you know what's is
at the same time though, our defense is way more explosive than their defense. So that's why it affected us more, because we were that much better and that much more explosive off the ground. And unfortunately, that's how you know that the Eagles are really like the defense. Like, my hat's off to those dudes, Hassan Reddick and everyone. Like, that's how you know that those motherfuckers were giving it their all. Yeah. They were giving it their all every single game, so that if you overwatered their field, then it nullified their game. That's how much they were given to this game. Like, they were literally stretching the edges of every single field. And this field had too much water on it, and it was too much.
Did you know that there was only one sack in the game? And it wasn't even a sack. Technically it was.
I didn't even know there was one sack.
Yeah,
I thought there was zero.
One sack. And it was when it was because Jalen Hurts, I believe, it was like second quarter is when he went to the sideline and he went out of balance, and they technically called it a sack. So it wasn't like an actual quarterback sack.
In the entire game.
Yep. Man. It's crazy, man.
Well, I guess the fumble doesn't count as a sack.
I don't think so. Yeah.
It's because it's just a fumble.
Yeah, it's just a fumble. Yeah. They got plays like that, and then it's just small things that killed them. I mean, it really did. When they went for it when they went for the field goal at the last, that last of the quarter, and then if they scored there, everything's changing. If they did something different, they don't fumble there. If they don't go for that field goal at the end of the second half or the second quarter, small stuff like that. Just you played a team that's been there.
It's just like the other game that we lost. All the games we lost this year, it's the same thing. If you take the handful of mistakes that were made, if you just take one of those mistakes out, we win.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the Washington game. Like, there was like 90,000 mistakes that game. If you take one of them away, we win. And then the fucking Cowboys game without Hurts, right? I don't even know. The fucking Saints game. That doesn't even count to me. Saints game. That was what, New Year's Day, right?
Think so.
Fucking New Year's Day. I had a time of my life there, dude. I was at Camelback in Poconos, Camelback Indoor Water Park. New Year's Day, bro. Living it up. Watching the Eagles at a swim up bar. I was in a pool in a bar. At a bar. It was great. And then also back and forth playing with my kids and shit. It was fun. It was such a fun time. But it sucked that the Eagles lost. It really sucked. Because I was in Giants fan land.
Yeah.
A bunch of Giants fans were like, oh, and I was like, you guys fucking suck.
Oh, man.
You ain't watching your team right now. Yeah, so one thing.
I mean, but you gotta say, I don't know. Do you consider it a great season? Like, I would have to say yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, I do. But we can't cap it off and say greatest. I wanted to say the greatest ever, but I can't say
good
that.
Point.
If we would have won the Super Bowl, it would have been the best, hands down the best Eagles team, the best season, the best everything, the best defense, the best offense, the best everything. But they didn't win a Super Bowl. So, yeah, it was a great season. It was one of the more fun seasons I've ever watched. It's incredible. And all I can say is I hope they can do it again, but win the Super Bowl this time. Like I know they feel the same way. I know that there's a huge chip on their shoulder, especially Jalen. We're going to see his third year under the Sirianni regime next year, and I just want to see him be the same, which I'm confident he will be. I want to see him be the same, if not better, right?
Yeah.
We have to. One of the biggest things you're talking about, Cam Jurgens, right? One of the biggest things is like that line, right? We need that line to be cohesive, right? Who are we losing? Are we losing Saint-Malo?
I think that was one name mentioned, maybe. That's the only thing from the line that I could think,
Yeah, I mean that's not too bad. I mean, I love Saint-Malo, man. I fucking love that guy.
Who knows?
That's not the
maybe they'll work
worst.
something in. Yeah.
I think they can work with that. I mean, Kelsey, hopefully he doesn't retire. I don't think he's going to retire. I think he's going to stick around for one more season. He's got one more year under his contract, right? I don't think he's going to retire. I think he's down for one more season, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, and like you said,
it'd be great to see Cam Jurgens play. Like you said, it'd be great to see Cam Jurgens kick off to the side of Kelsey and really get some experience at guard, and then Jurgens can take over the reign the following year.
So then you don't want to we keep saying it, like there is some positives coming out of this too. Like not everything has to be a negative. Now you got Brian Johnson that it's great that like Hurts finally is getting this similar, like just having a coaching staff with him in multiple seasons. Like that's another thing we can tip our hat to. They are very comfortable with each other. I believe they work well with each other. Yeah, I think that's great, man. Like, not bringing in another defensive or offensive coordinator just out of somebody, somebody's just no name, just bringing in somebody like that. I think that this could be a very good thing where, the relationship between Brian Johnson and Hurts is awesome. So that could help us going forward. So that's just one great thing that we can look forward to.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would have stuck internally with the DC too. That's okay. I still haven't looked into the guy we got. What's his name?
Me either. I know he's. A couple things that I did hear the last week or so. His stint with the Bears, I don't think it was great. But one thing I did hear is Robert Quinn that we do now have. He got him to 16 sacks that season. So that's another thing that you can look at in a good way. But I don't know if he's going to bring, but apparently it's going to be it's a lot of the same thing that Gannon runs. So it's not going to be like this guy coming in that's just going to. It's going to be a Jim Johnson, it's not going to be one of those guys.
Yeah. I think the Jim Johnson defense is gone, man. It's over. The generation, it's a different generation. Yeah. Because the way the offenses are and stuff, right?
Yeah.
The Jim Johnson defense is just not a thing anymore. That's why Brian Dawkins was even saying, like, people were trying to make it seem like Brian Dawkins was saying that he would hate Jonathan Gannon if he played for Jonathan Gannon. But like what Dawkins was really saying was like he'd hate this style of defense, which is a majority of the defenses now. This is the new age of defenses, and Jonathan Gannon is kind of at the forefront of it. He's kind of like one of the main dudes in front of this style of defense, and it's basically it's one of those ebb and flow things. It's how the offense evolves, so the defense evolves with it. Yeah. Because the league is absolutely trying to favor a lot of offensive things.
It is, and
have to change and evolve. They have to change and evolve.
Oh yeah, and
And we have
s-
absolutely. Hey, look who it is! Hold on, I
and
think
then
I found you.
Stoutland's back. They got him early, so that's
Yeah, yeah, that was
there's a couple things that
a
that
huge
can make
win.
me a little bit better off than when I was Monday. That money
We're talking
difference.
about back in the day when we used to buy those CDs. You remember them?
You talking to me?
What you know them CDs I'm talking about the ones with the one John. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Well, you remember that CD we had back in the day when we used to play pool at your house underneath in the basement. You know that CD that was always sitting on the counter. What you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay.
He's trying.
But it had the drawing of the little drawing of the thing on it.
Got me, man. You got me. I don't know where you're going with this, but sure. I
No,
do remember.
I was trying to get y'all.
I know. That's what I felt it a little bit, just a little bit.
Felt it just a little bit.
I thought it was coming.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, "What CD?" Yeah.
If you would have said what CD, I would have nutted your ass so
Oh
hard.
man, it was. I was close. I
What
was trying to
CD?
think. I thought it was like. I thought it would be like some Two Skinny J's stuff or something. Maybe we had a CD of them. Other than that,
Oh man, the Organic Machine.
which I haven't listened to in a while.
Yeah,
But
it's been a while for me too. It's Two Skinny J's.
put on some music. I
I'm
just
trying to
haven't. I just
fix
been working,
Brandon.
man. It's just been turning. I don't have it. Just even listening. Like I have been listening to a lot more like sports talk or sports radio this week. I just started turning it on again because I'm slowly but surely getting over it.
Oh man.
And you got to move forward, man. And I do like they have they had to switch everything up in '94
I have no idea.
because Cataldi friggin' retired, so they got a couple of new people. They got Hugh
I
Douglas
guess he
on
can't
it.
hear you either. You can't hear Brendan?
No, I don't see him either.
What the fuck?
Do you see him?
Brendan, can you speak again? Huh. I don't hear you either. Well, I do hear you, but speak again, Brendan.
Speak again, Bren.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay, I can. I don't know why you two can't hear each other. That's fucking weird.
Figure it the fuck out.
Can you see him?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I see both of you.
I don't believe you.
I'm literally fixing his camera. He's flipping through fucking Amazon Fire TV.
Hold on, let me. I'm not sure.
Can you ask Dan what channel the Sixers are on?
What channel are the Sixers on, Dan? Oh, he just left. Dan just left.
I'm back. No, I'm here.
No, he's
I'm
back.
here.
Dan, what channel is the Sixers on? All I can see is your chin, Dan. Oh,
Cincinnati.
what did you do, Dan? You changed your camera. Damn.
No, I didn't.
Something happened. Now all I can see is the nostrils, your fucking nose nostrils, because your camera changed.
Get out of my nostrils, man.
Fucking, I'm all up in that ass. I'm all up in them nostrils, bro. I'll fix it.
I can't see Brendan though. It's weird.
Yeah, he can't see or hear you either. You guys are fucking weird.
Do you want me to
Fucking
go out and
iPhone
go back in?
users.
I would say, Brendan, yes, go out and go back in because I don't know. There's nothing I can do. I have no idea.
That's what she said.
Okay.
Just slide it out, slide it back in. All right, I'm fixing your shit.
I did start the Mandalorian off your Plex last night.
Oh yeah, I haven't started watching it yet.
It's pretty good. The first episode was pretty good.
I actually just started watching Andor, the other Star Wars show, and that's actually really freaking good. And I've been reading things online. People are saying that the Andor show is so good that I don't even want to watch the other Star Wars shows because it makes Mandalorian look like shit. So,
Wow.
and I'm only like 2 episodes in, but it's pretty like
Yeah.
it's definitely different than any of the other Star Wars content. It's a little bit more. It's like deeper involved with the character. You know, there's no like real Jedi action. It's about a dude who's just like a smuggler or something, and then he's like evading the Empire and shit. So it's kind of a cool little story to it so far.
Nice.
And he apparently comes from some indigenous area, some planet that was like filled with indigenous people that had some mishap with some Imperials or something, or some advanced society, and like they all got wiped out, but him and his like sister are like still alive. I mean, hey Brendan.
Yep. I can't even see myself now. Can only see you. I don't think you can even hear me.
All right, let me see if there is any settings. Do 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 do.
Is that the dub?
Yeah. User. Additional controls. I mean, this thing that we log into is a website. They might like change things, and and there's like so many settings. There's like, it's definitely not easy to use. There's so much shit going on.
Not user friendly.
Absolutely not user friendly. And usually non-user friendly shit is my thing. Like I can deal with non-user friendly shit, but this shit is so fucking unfriendly to users.
Glad you're the one that's dealing with it.
You ain't kidding, bro. It sucks. This is you. You are the director. Yes, that's me.
Hi, it's me.
Hi, it's me.
Is it me you're looking for?
Hello. All right, so one of you is using AirPods. That's Brendan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of you is using an iPhone microphone. That's Dan.
Nah, it's.
Yeah, well, you got your.
Well, it's headphones. It's not the.
Yeah, it's called an iPhone microphone. That's what it's called.
Okay, man.
All right.
Okay.
Dum 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 dum. Quality preview. Blind guest. Toggle the remote guest display output. Did anything change for you, Dan?
It says the director has disabled
I can see myself now. Before I couldn't.
I am disabled.
All right. What about you, Bren? Is anything different for you? Don't do anything, Dan. Don't do anything.
I did.
The director has disabled your vision temporarily.
Okay, I blinded you guys. How about now?
Now I can see myself and you.
Okay, you see me and yourself, both of you.
Does Brendan see me?
No, Brendan is just like you. He can only see me and himself. And Dan, you can only see me and yourself. This is fucking gay. Maybe I can like add to a scene.
Whoa.
All right. How about now? Can you guys see each other? No?
Nope.
Sheesh. What the fuck happened to this thing, man? This shit used to work flawlessly.
I know, it was good at one point.
Hello?
Can you hear Brendan?
Yeah. I can hear and see Brendan. I can hear and see you.
That's weird, man.
Yeah, I got you guys. But jeez.
Let me try to go out and come.
Oh my God, Dan,
Sorry,
your
Pat.
fucking camera, bro. I swear to God. It keeps going back and forth to like.
It's been in the same sideways position since it was, so I didn't
I know.
change that.
I don't know what the deal. Oh, that's because you left and came back. But that's okay.
Yeah.
So you left and came back, and now it's back to the way it was in the beginning. So I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't change. It's still.
Sorry, I got you. You're in there now.
Better be.
You're in. You're fucking in. Let me check levels. All right, give me some levels, Dan.
Level 1, 2, check. Mic check.
Levels
1,
look
2,
good.
3, 4, 5.
Cheers.
Oh man, dude,
Yeah, Cowboy Chris is going to join us. This should be fun. Definitely going to talk some draft prospects, and he's got obviously that's going to be another point of view. Fucking Cowboys fan. What a piece of shit.
It doesn't even feel like it. I don't know. It's just maybe because I haven't watched it all season. Like I don't even know like who that stud is. Like to come out like who's that main person? You know. Like I don't even. It doesn't feel like that this year. You know.
Yeah, I
Which
mean,
is
I
me,
don't,
but
fucking,
I'm
I
sure
don't, I don't
Sean
pay
would
attention.
that
I don't
way.
fucking pay attention to college at all. I listen to whatever Sean tells me.
Yeah, so it's like
Where the fuck is he at? Sleeping.
sleeping, man.
He falls asleep at 7 p.m., bro, sharp, every day. His daughter puts him to sleep.
Straight up headlock.
His daughter headlocks his ass to sleep at 7 p.m. and then she stays up for a couple hours and parties. She watches Coco or Frozen.
Coco after dark.
Can you see Brendan?
I can.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Hi,
funny.
Brennan.
I don't know why I found that so funny.
What up?
We were just talking about Sean and how he falls asleep at 7 o'clock sharp, 7 p.m. sharp. But what really happens is his daughter Adriana headlocks his ass to sleep at about 7:30, and then stays up and watches Coco or Frozen or both. She has a Disney movie marathon.
He's strapped down to the chair.
Straight up headlock.
He's a lying ass dude because he was awake at 9:30 at night the other night. He was texting me about fucking combine shit.
Oh, we got a new scout expert coming into our show soon.
I'm having a long john.
Nice. I'm drinking a Victory Brotherly Love. I was telling Dan and I were talking about how much drinking we haven't been doing lately. And I realized that these beers that I'm drinking right now, I bought them before the Super Bowl.
Wow, don't talk about that.
That's how much.
We're gonna talk.
That's how
about
much
that,
I have
actually.
been not drinking. Hey, Dan and I already had a segment about. Hey, what's up, Chris? Hold on, I gotta get him. You're not in the. Can everybody see and hear Chris?
I could see him. Yes.
Test was good. Test was successful.
All right. Well, I still gotta get. You're not on the live stream yet, but I'm gonna get you in there. I have to add your link to the OBS, John.
That's cool. You can do that. You can just put in who you want.
I can't see myself. Fuck.
What are you, Rick from Anchorman? I can't see my legs. Is that what he said? He can't see his legs?
Yeah, it's like Ron. He's like, I can't. My legs are gone.
His legs are gone.
He was wearing green pants on St. Patty's Day. My legs. He just fell.
Ron.
He's like, yo, this bum ass fucking Sixers team, dude. I don't know how much more I can take of them.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, don't turn it on. It's not anything different.
Yeah, I'm watching the UFC anyway.
All right, you're in, Chris. You are on our live stream, and you're fumbling the phone. What are you doing?
I am fumbling the phone. I'm sorry about that.
It's all good. What's up, man? Welcome to the Quarterback Factory Show. This is a little bit less viewers than you're used to. Just like
Yeah, right.
just a little bit less. So just to warn you.
Oh no, it's all good.
No, you're gonna come on here and promote it.
Stop fumbling your phone.
I thought you were.
I'm trying to what I'm trying to do is I'm trying
Oh,
to.
you're a professional.
I am a professional. You're right.
Hey, look, this guy has way more followers than us, and look, he's fumbling his phone.
I know.
I'm trying to find a comfortable way to angle my phone here. I've never done it like this before.
That's what you said.
I'm doing it.
What do you know? What do you got? You got a computer? You normally stream from your computer or something?
Yeah, usually. So it's a little.
Me and Brendan might get on that same thing.
You can log in with your computer. It's the same link. The link that we sent you, it's the same link we use every day. So now you have in. The only way we can get rid of you is if we just like change the link.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
We'd have to ghost your ass.
Oh, so.
Yeah, good to meet you in face to face, kind of virtually. By the way, finally, I know we all talk a lot of shit through the comments and stuff, but it's good to talk to you face to face, my man. Brendan always like relays everything you say to us anyway, so I feel like I know you already. And you're definitely a huge piece of shit. I wouldn't want to work with you, but it's okay.
Yes.
Well said.
Look. Saying that I'm a huge piece of shit is a compliment to huge pieces of shit. I'm more than a huge piece of shit. I'm a gigantic piece of shit.
Appreciate it. It's the only guy I know that would come into work on his day off with a Dak Prescott jersey on just to throw in people's faces.
Yeah, when Brent said that, man, when Brent told us about that, oh my god.
Yeah, that's some next level piece of shit right there.
Hey, that's dedication. That's dedication to being a piece of shit.
You drank the water down in Mexico and you're having some pieces of shit coming out. That's what that is. My God. So are we like live? Are we on? Like,
oh yeah. We're live. We got through all the technical difficulties. We're good.
Oh, all right.
Everybody can see and hear each other now. We're good.
All right, good. Well, Chris, why don't you we're all here, Quarterback Factory Show, Dan, me, Blanco, and special guest Chris Crutchman from Cowboys Beat. Got a fucking Cowboys fan on our podcast.
It's great, man.
It's all good though. Thanks for coming on, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris does help me out with a lot of the technical stuff and suggestions and stuff for our TikTok account and everything like that.
Nice.
So he's helped out a lot of stuff with that. And Chris and I are on the same level as to where he can walk into work and we can talk just football, and we can look at it from just a football perspective, to where he walks about 50 feet away from me and it sounds like two people are going to get murdered because he just starts immediately screaming, and like it's like a fucking death match between him and some of my other fellow
celebrity death match.
Dude, it was, dude. I'm waiting for that little bald-headed dude to come out. Let's get it on!
Like Joe Rogan. It's funny you're talking about bald-headed dudes. Like Joe Rogan is describing this fight right now, and there's literally veins about to pop in his head right now. It's hysterical.
Oh my God, I can only imagine. Did you watch the
$80 for that UFC pay-per-view? Insane. Like it used to be $60. And then
UFC is keeping pay-per-view afloat, man. It's funny. Dan and I were literally just talking before we went live. Dan and I always have this like conversation. Like it's probably the conversation we should go live with, because we always talk about some fascinating shit. And we were talking about fighting days and stuff, and how like the pay-per-view era is just like, it just isn't the same anymore. But apparently MMA is keeping that shit alive. And I don't really, I was just telling him, I don't really watch MMA. I like watching the striking and boxing and stuff. I was thinking about getting into Thai kickboxing, thinking about watching that shit. Like, I don't like to watch the MMA too much because I don't really get into the wrestling and judo stuff. But I don't like watching, at least. I know it's like totally strategic and all that and crazy, but it's just not my thing to watch.
Did you watch Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah.
I saw a meme about it. I thought that was fake. Was that real?
No, it's for his upcoming movie. I guess like a Roadhouse remake or something.
I also thought that might be the thing.
Dude, he is fucking.
Because he was smiling a little too hard. You could see the guy next to him. It's like, yeah, the guy next to him would definitely fuck him up.
Wasn't he?
Like the guy next to him looked like a Mexican fighter, right? It's like, yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal ain't really fighting.
And to be honest with you, I'm not even that big of an MMA fan. John Jones is fighting tonight. That's the only reason why I'm watching.
I don't even know who that is.
I don't even know who that is. Either.
He's one of the best fighters that has ever been in MMA.
That's another thing I was talking to Dan about, like the excitement. Like I haven't had that. There's nothing that draws me in to watching fighting anymore. Whereas I used to be drawn to fighting because of that exciting fighter, that generational fighter like Pacquiao, Roy Jones Jr., who I used to watch, and obviously Tyson back in the day too. That's another thing. So like I would be drawn in if there's somebody I can like kind of glue to and say, yeah, this guy is really fucking good.
See, because I was a big boxing fan, and then I think it was after, I forget which one it was. It was either Golovkin Alvarez 1 or Golovkin Alvarez 2, where they just completely robbed Golovkin, and I couldn't watch it anymore. It's such a corrupt sport, and that's the problem with it.
Yeah.
It's so corrupt. So
and the whole Mayweather era kind of ruined things.
He's my favorite fighter of all time, to be honest.
Mayweather, really?
I love Mayweather.
Dude, I don't hate Mayweather, but I just never really liked watching him because he's just so good. He's so good that he makes the fights boring. Like fighters that he fights that are normally exciting fighters are just like not exciting because he nullifies their offense with his incredible shoulder roll defense. So I agree with him. He's a fucking excellent fighter. I was actually talking to Dan, like the last good fight I've seen, like half decent boxing match I've seen was Mayweather versus McGregor, because everything nowadays is like celebrity matches, right? Celebrity fundraisers. And that kind of was too, but that was kind of early in the phase of this. That probably started the celebrity fundraising matches now. McGregor switching from MMA to boxing and wanting to fight one of the best in the sport right away, right? And Mayweather said, if I don't knock this dude out, this is a loss to the entire sport of boxing. And he was right. And I'm glad he tuned him up pretty good. That's probably the most exciting fight I've ever seen Mayweather fight versus McGregor. Tuned McGregor up, and it was a really hell of a fight. And at the end, they both kissed and made up with all the drama and media that was surrounding that shit. I thought that was probably
all the money in the world as well.
What'd you say?
And all the money in the world as well with those two.
Oh yeah.
That was so much money made with that.
Yeah.
The thing is with Mayweather, like the way I looked at it, I was like, if Mayweather wanted to get him out of there in the third round, he could have got him out of there in the third round. But the thing is, Mayweather's a showman, right?
Oh yeah.
So, you know, like the amount of money paid for those tickets, Floyd wasn't going to get him out of there in the first two rounds. So, like, you know, but that was never like. When you go later into Floyd's career, that was never his style. His style was, I'm going to figure this guy out for the first few rounds. And then as soon as I download, you know, the data and everything that the other guy's throwing at me, then that's when I'm going to take over the fight.
Oh yeah. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating how smart of a fighter he was, and how, like I said, like there was always the challenger of like, oh, this guy is a brawler. He's going to fuck Mayweather up. Nope. Never happened. Didn't happen once. False. It's a lie. We made it up.
So, did you guys watch the combine at all? Everybody's
nope.
Kind of in their pants.
Was Jake Gyllenhaal in it?
Well, Anthony Richardson is. He's almost as great as Jake Gyllenhaal, right? Apparently, that's what I'm being told.
He threw a football quarter mile over the mountains. That's what I heard.
Oh my God,
Uncle Rico.
Here's my thing.
He threw a ball 62 miles an hour.
Here's my thing with Anthony Richardson. Like, yes, he can throw the ball a mile. His athletic profile is just insane.
His vertical.
I mean, as good of an athlete as you're ever going to see play the quarterback position. But I mean, when you're talking about a guy who completed 54% of his passes at the college level, and not only that, they were a very screen-heavy offense. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that he wasn't a very accurate quarterback. You know, like at least from the tape that I saw, I watched about like 2 games of him, and the amount of screens that they ran was insane. And like anytime he had to throw the ball 10 plus yards down the field, if it wasn't a deep shot, he'd really struggle completing passes. So that's kind of my thing with Anthony Richardson. Like you're drafting an athlete and hoping that he can be a really good quarterback compared to just drafting a really good quarterback like
you're hoping you get a Jalen Hurts out of that deal.
Well, I don't think it's anything like that. Because to be honest with you, I think Jalen Hurts is a better prospect coming out of college than Anthony Richardson. I honestly believe that because Jalen Hurts was, one, productive in college. Two, he had a feel for the game. He had a lot of experience playing. And I mean, the athletic profile for Jalen Hurts isn't that far behind Anthony Richardson, if at all. I mean, Anthony Richardson might have a few inches on Jalen Hurts, but I honestly thought Jalen Hurts was a better prospect coming out of college. I'm not even saying this because this is an Eagles show. I'm saying that because I honestly believe that.
You fucking better say that shit. I'm just kidding.
Okay, Ken.
Go.
I'd like to say something. So this is the first show that we've done since the Eagles lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And okay, because I really wasn't. I still hadn't come to terms. I still hadn't come to terms with it yet. You guys might have had some of your venting of your own.
It's still the same season.
Yeah,
it's still the same season. We're just still going. It's still the same season. We still have to get there.
Yeah, me and Blanco did some venting before you got on with it, so
we got to hear your thoughts.
But we'd like to hear your thoughts.
Well, yeah. Well, Dan and I we experienced it together, and yeah. It was bad, dude.
I sat right there. Where Brendan is right now, I kind of sat there by myself for like a good maybe hour. Just drinking a huge, tall can of something. I forget what it was, but man, I just sat outside in the cold for so long. I was just sitting there and like, what the fuck?
So was I, man. Just like that video, I was just sitting in the rain, just so utterly fucking depressed. But look, like I said, like I wrote in the video I put out, like excuses are for losers, man. I mean, they lost the game. It wasn't the ref's fault. I mean, yeah, was it a ticky-tack holding call at the end? Yeah. Was it a hold? Yeah, it was a hold. Absolutely. But I mean, even people said like you literally decided the game on a flag. Like that's not cool. Like they were going to get a touchdown or a field goal either way. And just at least give the Eagles a chance to go down the field. Like if he would have completed the pass, and then it would have been, first and goal from the 5 or the 10 or whatever, fine. But just don't decide on a fucking flag. Like it's so stupid. Whatever.
Yeah,
and the field
opportunity to slide at the 1 yard line.
And the field was what it was. Look, the Eagles played on the same exact field that the Chiefs did too. So. And it did come out that it was overwatered, and apparently they I don't know whether the dome was closed and they painted in water and then they opened it and then there was more dew and made it more moist, and there was rumors about that the Chiefs players were advised to wear 6 spiked shoes rather than like 5 of the Eagles. That's why they had a little more traction.
That's true. That's coach's fault.
Yeah, so not only everybody else was blaming somebody, the Sodfather was even blaming people. So count him as
I personally blame Rihanna because she hadn't done a concert since like 2016, and I was
her water broke. That's why the field was fucked up.
That's probably because I was really expecting like hot, sexy, half naked sex bot from outer space to be dancing all over my TV. I don't know,
man. I find that pregnant bum not to doesn't turn me off. Doesn't turn me off at all. I'll just say that. I'm married.
She looked like
I've seen that bum twice.
She looked like she was just like looked like a big like tomato. Like she was just like it looked like Andy Reid was up there, but just with a Rihanna head.
She was seriously a tomato for Andy Reid's hamburger.
And I couldn't take it, dude. But look, the last thing I'll say is this: I think that it hurts. It hurts. This one hurts more than anything because, and I'm not being a homer, but the Eagles were the better team in that game, and they lost. That's why it hurts. Like in 04 when we lost to the Patriots, it was like it hurt really bad because it was the first time they got there in 24 years. It was the first Super Bowl any of us experienced. And so that really hurt. But again, it was the Brady Belichick era. They had already won what, like 2 at that point?
Yeah, but even
So
that game was
and
filled
then
with shooting ourselves in the
yeah,
foot, though.
exactly. I mean, if you look back at the Super Bowls we lost, I mean, we lost what, in 04 by 3. We lost just past year by 3. And look, Jalen Hurts, you can't put anything on him, and you guys know how I feel about Jalen. I thought he, aside from the switching of the hands fumble, which was a huge turning point in the game, he played an outstanding game. The entire team did. They just did not make a fucking stop on defense. That's what it comes down to.
The biggest thing
They
is
needed
that
they again came back to haunt them. Special teams, 65-yard punt return, the longest in Super Bowl history. Right there, your special teams sucked all year, and it came back to bite you at the worst fucking time possible.
Yeah, what are they going to do to address that?
And you're nothing. They didn't do anything. They re-upped their fucking special teams coach.
Yeah, give him
I know, I saw that.
So, yeah, it wasn't anybody specifically's fault. I mean, you can say Jonathan Gannon with his stupid scheming, but they had opportunities, man. The special teams gave up the punt, and then the defense.
We got a comment.
All they had to do was make.
Yeah, we got a comment.
Oh my God, is it Pup?
Yep.
Hello, ladies.
Swear to God. And then he said Eagles were outcoached in the second half.
No, they were. They were outcoached. Yeah, they were outcoached in the second half. Yeah, they were. So they had it. That was why it hurt the most, because they had it. They were up by 10. They were the better team in
They were
that
outcoached the moment they decided how many cleat spikes to have on their cleats.
No, they were outcoached, but all they had to do was make a stop. They were the better team, and they lost. That's why it hurts. That's why it hurts. And they had it. They had Mahomes up against the ropes. He was limping. They took away so many
fake ass limp.
Yeah, but
they took away so many, and then when they came back at the end, and then the coverage at the end was just like juju, and like that they were just like, hi, and just walk in now. There's nothing.
At the end of the day, too, it's just the players needed to make plays also, and there's a lot of blame that went to Gannon. But
Chris, go ahead and cut us off, man. Don't feel like you have to be polite on this show. Just go ahead and cut people off. I know you want to say something.
Well,
just act like you're talking to Brent at work. Just cut his ass off. Draw a penis on the back of his UPS truck.
I would never do that. No, look, here's the thing. Right? First off, the Sod Father, that is the worst nickname I've ever heard in my life. I've never
so bad
when I've heard the Sod Father.
And then get a t-shirt made for
it. What I will say is this, though. I understand. Like with the field, I honestly think that affected the Eagles more than the Chiefs, if I'm being 100% honest with you, because the way the Eagles play defense, they're trying to, get after the passer. And like Reddick was winning like a lot of his reps, but he just couldn't get his footing and really drive his foot in the ground and, get after the quarterback. Like,
I was saying
Orlando Brown with the put it on the shirt. I'm like, dude, you were losing reps out there. Like, if you guys were playing on a decent field, they probably get to Mahomes at least 2 times. So that's one thing I will say. I did think that it gave the Chiefs a real advantage. Other than that, the holding call, it definitely was a holding call. And like the one thing I do. The ref in that situation, he's not thinking like, this is to determine the game. They're just like, in the moment, I saw a penalty or I saw a holding. I'm going to throw the flag. Like I don't think refs really have situational awareness to that extent. I just think they get into a mode where they're just like,
they're technical. They're technical. They're on it. They're trying to tune their eyes. No, I agree with that 100%. I've never really complained about that.
But I do agree. I think that the Eagles were the best team in football this year. I understand. Like, was their schedule all that great? No, it wasn't. But it's
practically the same as the Cowboys.
Well, yeah. Well, look. I don't think the Cowboys were the best team in the NFL. I mean,
yes, you do. You know how many times I heard that screamed across the warehouse?
ESPN thought the Cowboys were the best in the NFL up until they lost to the Niners.
well, and now they think they're the worst team in the NFL.
That won't last long.
No,
that's
they
just
don't.
that's
They
just
just-
because
it usually-
the ESPN is still crying. They're still feeling the hurt. They'll get over it. They'll be fine.
Or Orlovsky and all those guys and Bart Scott.
Oh, he loves Orlovsky.
Yeah, you want to know what one thing I'll say about Orlovsky is there are times where he puts forward some good analysis, and then there's times where he just puts out crap. One person who I can't stand out of everybody on ESPN, Bart Scott. He's the worst. He sucks. I've never heard him say
Bart
anything.
Starr.
I've never heard him say anything that I actually agree with.
Yeah, he's an
But,
idiot.
I mean,
they're
look-
all idiots. They're all a bunch of talking fucking heads just trying to take hot takes and get their fucking names out there. You know that. There's very few people that are on there that are actually educated and know what the fuck they're talking about.
But I mean, with that game though, I mean, 2 plays in particular, it was the fumble and it was the special teams play. Other than that,
I will say redact the fumble, and I would say I don't want to call it the fumble. I would say I'd call it the pre-snap penalty before the fumble because we were 3rd and short.
yeah,
We were 3rd and short, and then
Yeah.
it was like a false start or some pre-snap penalty on the line.
It
caused us to go back
it was
10
on
yards.
Sayamalu.
Yeah, it caused us to go back 10 yards, and then the fumble happened. So this is something that the Eagles offensive line coach preaches all fucking day, all the time. You hear the linemen repeat it in like interviews and shit. They say pre-snap penalties are the worst thing in the world. And when that happened, that's when I was like, oh my God, I can't. We had a 3rd and short. We were definitely going to get a first down. We were absolutely going to get the first down. I knew it because I know the Eagles playbook. I know they have the playbook for those scenarios. But when a pre-snap penalty happens and puts you back 10 yards, their playbook is not designed for that, right? Not many playbooks are. So
The worst part
it.
about that, the worst part about that,
and it cost us 7 points. That's basically
yeah.
it's at least a 10-point differential, at most a 14-point differential.
well, and that's the thing,
Or
right?
at least a 7-point differential, and then it could be 10 or 14, right? Because of
The Chiefs played an incredibly clean football game, and
Yeah,
that's why they
yeah.
won.
Yep,
You know,
Yeah,
they were just efficient.
that's
They
what it
didn't
comes
do-
down to.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't do anything crazy out there. Like they didn't. They just
Yeah,
they didn't make
And it was
any-
just too. There was some uncharacteristic stuff that I've seen from Sirianni that last year 2017 with Doug, when he went into the Super Bowl, it was just like he knew what to do. He knew when to go for it and stuff like that. When Sirianni came up to that end of the second half, when we had to kick that field goal, I just felt like Sirianni just kind of went out of character on that one. I mean, Doug knew he had to score. Like, he had to continue to score. So I think that's one of the turning points, too, where if they, that field goal really definitely.
A.J. Brown said
just
that,
turned
too.
around. Yep.
He said A.J. Brown said that, too. He said when we settled for that field goal instead of going for it on 4th and 3 and going for a touchdown before halftime, he said, I knew we were in trouble.
And I think they had a couple shots beforehand, and it just the play calling in that situation wasn't
Yeah.
right. So
another thing
It's-
about it is
No,
like Chris said, is like the Chiefs played a clean game.
oh yeah,
The Eagles had a few mistakes, right? If you take one of those mistakes out of the game, they win the game, right? There's like a handful of mistakes they had throughout the game, and if you take one away, they win the game, right? But that's the story of every single Eagles loss this season. Like, look at the Washington game; they made like 90,000 mistakes, and if you take one of those mistakes away, they would have won that game. And then there's the Saints game, which we don't even want to remember on New Year's Day. And then there's the Cowboys game. We'll talk about that one with Jalen Hurts wasn't playing, whereas like just that one little mistake or even like one little decision on defense. I think the Cowboys actually made the better decision. They put CeeDee Lamb in the slot, and it was like, oh my God, that's the cheat code against the Eagles defense, right? There was also, and we still almost won that game. Like we could have. There was I think it was up to Gardner Minshew.
4 fucking turnovers, man.
It was
4
up to Gardner
turnovers. You
Minshew to
can't do
have a
that.
game-winning drive, and I just think it just didn't pan out or something, right? But anyway, That's the story of the Eagles. All the Eagles' losses throughout this entire season is like, oh, there was just like they played almost a perfect season, right? The games that they won handily, they like won. They almost walked away from those games like early too, right? A lot of the games they won were just early wins. It was clear wins. Nothing any other team could do about it. And then the ones that they lost were just like, damn, how the fuck did just like there was a handful of mistakes and they're like just one thing. If you just don't do one of those dumbass things, you would have won that game. So it's crazy how that storyline is to me. And to me, it's that one pre-snap penalty that's the worst thing because that was the biggest point differential mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always say a pre-snap penalty.
I'm about to cry.
Or
right? Just thinking about
a false start is the most inexcusable.
Oh, Stalin will fuck you up for that shit.
I'm sorry, but it is. You know the worst part about that the fumble by Hurts and ran in for a touchdown was that I was in this garage with Dan watching the game on the TV, and it was like, oh, false start, and then they're moving back. I was like, I'm like, all right, I think they're going to a commercial break. I'm like, I'm gonna run and go fast and take a piss. So I ran inside, and my TV out here is on a delay. So I went inside, and as soon as I opened the door, I saw the Chiefs guy running in the end zone for a touchdown. I was like, what's this? Is this a highlight from another game? And they were like, no, Hurts just fumbled the ball and ran in for a touchdown. I'm like, what? It was just a false start. I was such a kick to the dick. I was like, motherfucker.
That sucks.
Fucking sucked. Yeah, but you know what? But you have to take this into consideration. I've kind of thought of this too, and I've heard people say it. It sucks that we lost, obviously, and I don't know if I'll ever get over it. But there's really no shame in losing to Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Like, Mahomes is obviously the best quarterback in football. He's going to go down in history as probably one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Andy Reid's one of the best coaches of all time. He's a Hall of Famer. So, I mean, it's not like we went out there.
Fuck Andy Reid. Never liked him. Just kidding.
It's not like we went out there. We didn't go out and lose to like Blake Bortles or some fucking blowjob of a quarterback.
Or Brock Purdy.
Yeah, or Brock Purdy.
You could definitely say that this Super Bowl, this Super Bowl was the clear best two teams in the entire NFL, and it's not often you get that Super Bowl. Most of the times the best team throughout the season would lose in a divisional round or something. At least in one of the conferences, right? It's never like these are the clear best two teams in the NFL, a clear heavyweight match. They should have put it on pay-per-view, but it is 100%. You could say that, and it's sad.
I think
like I would say last year the two best teams in the league were the Packers and the Chiefs, and neither of them made the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
And, like the Rams and the Bengals were not the two best teams last year.
No.
But I think I do agree with that.
That's how football is. That's how football is. You can't hate that. It's just that's why it's like, wow, when you do get a moment like this, like holy shit, like wow, these are definitely the two best teams. Is it going to happen again?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, you guys have 6 picks in this draft, right? You have 2 firsts, a second, 2 thirds, and then a 7th.
I don't think we have any thirds.
No.
Or 4th.
Yeah, we have 2 firsts. We have 2 firsts, a second,
and then
a third, and 2 sevenths.
Yeah, we missed like all of day 3, I think.
Yeah. No, they got a second, they got a third, they got 2 sevenths.
Yeah, 2 sevenths. Yeah.
See, but one thing I think the Eagles are going to have to do going forward here is you hear all the time, it's hard to win a Super Bowl when you're paying a quarterback so much money. It's harder, yes, but it's not impossible. Like when you're paying a quarterback that much money, you now have to double and triple down on evaluations when it comes to the draft, right? I know they haven't won a Super Bowl, but you look at what the Cowboys have done since they've drafted Dak, right? They added CD, Trayvon Diggs, Micah, that Terrence Steele kid who tore his ACL, undrafted free agent, Deron Bland, Tyler. they added a lot of really good players through the draft.
It's like throwing darts at a dartboard, right? Just keep throwing them.
It will. I mean, but the thing is,
that's what it is. I'm being serious, sort of.
No, definitely. But there's two types of teams out there. There are teams that will look at college tape and take it for what it is, and then there's teams that'll look at college tape and say, okay, this player checks some boxes here. He might not have been productive in college. Maybe the scheme didn't fit him. Maybe the school wasn't the right fit for him. Let's see if we draft him on, late day 2, early day 3, and we get him in our system, and we do some things with this guy. Maybe he can work out. Teams that are really good at drafting tend to do stuff like that. And that's why, like, when you're paying a quarterback, you got to really double and triple down on evaluations. You really have to look into prospects more and try and find those day 2, day 3, even undrafted free agent gems, because, when you're paying your quarterback so much, it's hard to, acquire, really talented players at that point, because they're going to ask for big contracts.
Yeah, and it's no, I was gonna say, like, the philosophy of the Eagles too is kind of like they have it down too. Like Chris, you just said, it's like now they got to do something so different than the like the philosophy of the linemen. They're always drafting for the trenches. It seems like the Eagles always been having to do that. Now they got to change their ways to adapt to not only the draft but to the system in general of where the NFL is going with the offense and stuff like that. So
they're also good you can also count on the Eagles to not pay people too, like running backs. They'll never throw Zeke money at a running back. No matter
I was about to say, what type of team gives a 6-year contract to a running back?
Eagles would not. Like, the Eagles definitely would not do that at all.
You know what? That's another part. That's another part that really hurts about not winning this season, is that you had Hurts still on his rookie contract, so you were able to bring in all that talent, pay all that talent, and literally the only holes on this Eagles team was special teams.
Yep.
Your offense and your defense had no holes. Nothing. Yep. You had Bradbury, you had Slay, you had Maddox. Go through the whole defensive line. You had corners, you had safeties, you had offensive line, you had defensive line, quarterback, running back, like wide receivers, like you had it all. It was all there. Yeah. All the cards were in. The only thing, you didn't have a punt returner, and your special teams sucked. But you still walked away with a 14-win season and the best record in the NFL. So that's what hurts too, because now it's like, okay, if you look at the free agent list, it's as long as my fucking arm, and you're going to lose it. It's going to be a different team. You got, and then you lose both your coordinators. You lost your offensive coordinator, lost defensive coordinator, and you promoted from within with the offense, which is great. And I think that's a great move. But you're bringing another defensive coordinator, and supposedly he does have some of the same schemes. He's a Vic Fangio guy, so he has some of the same tendencies and schemes as Jonathan Gannon did. But it's still going to be different. You're going to bring in rookies, you're going to bring in free agents, and you're going to lose a lot of players on defense. Like, the only thing is your offense is pretty much intact completely, except for a running back, which, okay, you want to promote Gainwell, maybe. I don't think Sanders will still be here, but if you want to draft a guy, like,
if there's any team that can get production out of no-name running backs, is the Eagles. I mean,
look,
we've always got
take that number 30, fucking give it to somebody, trade back like 10 spots into the fucking second round, and pick up a fourth along with it, and draft a running back.
I'm telling you this right now. This running back class is deep. Like, deep.
I heard really good.
There's, obviously the two headliners are, you have Robinson from Texas, he's as good as it gets. I mean, he's the best running back prospect since Saquon. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's very Alvin Kamara type. But then there's just a group of guys that are all going to go within the 3rd to 6th round, to where it's like, how much better are these guys than each other? Like, one of my favorites, Zach Charbonnet from UCLA. That kid's a stud.
Sounds like a
Spears.
fine wine.
There's Tajay.
Zach
Spears.
Chardonnay.
What
from
year is
the
this Chardonnay from?
He's
This is
from
1972 Chardonnay.
So there's Charbonnet, there's Tajay Spears, there's Devin Arcane, there's
Every time you say
Zach-
Charbonnet, Brandon's gonna laugh.
yeah, there's so many good running backs in this draft. If you guys don't pay Sanders, I don't think you guys need to.
Oh, Sanders is not getting paid, bro. He played his way out of our. We can't afford him anymore. He's gone. He
did way
played,
too good.
He played so well. He did so
played
well.
too
He's the
good.
most. He is the most. I used to hate Sanders, but in from his rookie year and after his rookie year actually, till this year. This is the first year I did not hate Sanders. He played so well. He's the most improved player I've ever seen. I think maybe not ever, but he's incredibly improved player. He went from a dancer to fumbling all the time to a north-south runner. Listen to he took coaching really well, and that bodes well
He
for him.
always went to the sidelines too. He always did that college running back shit where he always just bounced the outside. He just wanted to run up the sidelines.
Yeah, he
Which never fucking
seriously
worked.
changed his mentality to play this well as he did this year.
Yeah.
My hat's off to him, and he is way out of our pay range. He's going to get paid somewhere.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to
Dude,
get
the Eagles. This is the first time in Eagles history they had 2,000-yard receivers and an over 1,000-yard rusher.
crazy.
Like unheard of in Eagles ever. Like we actually had linebackers this year. Wow, and a fucking end corners. We're always worried about trotting out Bradley Fletcher or Kerry Williams or Nnamdi Asomugha or fucking thinking that Jalen Mills and
Green
Ron
Goblin.
Darby were good.
Man,
So-
Dude, he's still Green Goblin even in
What I'll say
New
is
England.
TJ Edwards. That's if you guys lose him, that'll be a big loss. He is
I
he's a
agree.
stud. He's so good.
I agree.
But
He
he's
is.
paid
Don't want to lose him.
somewhere.
You know where you got? You know who can?
We're probably going to lose him now.
You know who can hit the bricks? Kazir White. He can hit the fucking bricks. He was a fucking liability.
What do you think?
Bringing the
What
putting the Kobe Dean in there, man. You drafted the fucking
Yeah.
kid for a reason.
He's
He's a stud.
Dean
Put him in
definitely
there.
is good.
See,
Dean
here's the thing I'll say about Nakobe Dean, right? Like last year, like when I was watching him, my takeaway from Nakobe Dean was I was like, he's probably a late second, third round pick. People gave me shit for that, but I'm like, look, I'm not even sure if he was a top 5 player on that defense. That's not a slight to him. That's just how good that defense was.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of me that was like, yeah, like he's making a lot of plays, but when your defensive linemen are keeping you as clean as they were keeping him, it's not nearly as difficult to be as good as he is, as good as he was at Georgia, when you have guys like Devontae Wyatt and Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. I mean, dude, that defensive line was stacked, and then they had Trayvon Walker.
You mean Jordan Love?
Like, dude,
That's
there was
My joke.
there was so much talent on that team that I was just like, he's a little undersized for the position, and he's got a shoulder injury that people were talking about. So I was like, third round would be good. I was like, anybody drafted him in the first round is insane for doing that. But that's one thing I will say. I think he'll be a fine player in the NFL, but I don't think it's as big of a shoo-in as people thought when he was entering the league. He wasn't.
Well, I honestly think that's why he didn't get off special teams this year. Coaches obviously saw something in practice we didn't.
And that's the thing, right? Like, we had this kid, Damone Clark, LSU. He had like neck fusion surgery, which caused him to drop in the draft. As soon as he was good to go, they put his ass on the field immediately. And he was a very solid player for the Cowboys this year. Like, with Dean, I was looking at it and I'm like, yo, like, if he was playing that well in practice, the coaches would want to put him on the field, because the coaches will tell you, we want the young guy to take the veteran's job. Like, they wanted Nakobe Dean to take a Kaiser White. They wanted him to take his job.
Yeah.
He should have been able to, too.
Yeah, and like Kaiser White's like he's fine, like he's a decent player, but like if Nakobe Dean was as good as people are hoping that he's gonna be, he would have beat one of those guys out. And like I said, when you're a young kid and you have the expectations that a Nakobe Dean had entering this season, the coaches want you to take that job. So the fact that he didn't take it from him, it does raise some eyebrows.
I hate you.
Absolutely.
Stop talking shit about our team, bro. Just kidding.
No.
I'm just joking.
No, what he said is absolutely correct. I mean,
100%. That's why I'm angry. I'm angry because you're speaking some truths, and I don't like it. I don't want to hear this truth. Okay?
And you guys can speak a lot of truth about my team, and I'd probably feel the same. I'd be pissed, but I'd be like, damn it, they're right.
Hey, you know what? I'll give this little bit of positivity to the Cowboys right now. This is the only positivity I'll give to the Cowboys team. Speaking to them as a team and what I feel about next year, right? I feel like the Eagles are still ahead of every team in the NFC, even next year. I feel like, there's going to be some teams that are going to be catching up to what the Eagles are doing, but not that much. Like I look at the Niners as they were literally the second best team in the NFC, and it wasn't even close. And I know people will say, oh, they got robbed because their quarterback got hurt. All their quarterbacks got hurt. They only had 2 quarterbacks. So we got robbed of a real NFL game. No, the Eagles were not much better than the Niners. And there was just nothing that the Niners could do. There's a gap between the number 1 team and the number 2 team this year. And number 1 team was the Eagles, and number 2 team was the Niners. And then after that was the rest of the teams. You could say Cowboys were number 3. I would say probably Cowboys were like the 3rd best team. You guys kind of should have beat the Niners, honestly. But neither here nor there. I do worry about that factor of like, okay, yes, we were the best team this year. The rest of the teams are looking up at us now. We're the main target. Everyone's going to be looking at what we did, what we're going to do. They're going to adapt to us, and it's going to be much more difficult. It should be, at least that's how competition works. And I will say that I think I worry about that in general, like of the whole NFC, but I worry more about that with the Cowboys because there's nobody looking more at us than the Cowboys as a team, as the competitors, in our division in general. I look at the Giants and the Redskins too, but like honestly, the Giants and the Redskins, they're the Giants and the Redskins. We know what they do. Then the Cowboys, they're going to come back, and Cowboys were literally Super Bowl favorites all year.
Quotations are
Super Bowl favorites all year by ESPN, and for good reason.
ESPN had their top 5 list for weeks.
The Cowboys had a fantastic record this year. Like if the Eagles weren't just literally blowing the rest of the league away with their crazy play, the Cowboys had a really pretty good season. It's just that it just wasn't quite good enough for the playoffs, for the rest of the playoffs, right?
Yeah, and history repeats itself too. It's like the division winners have not been the same.
That's what I mean. That's my point right now. My point is like I do worry about the rest of the NFC catching up, but I worry more about our division and how it's happening in our division because last year our division was the dominant division in the entire NFC, and that doesn't happen that often. Like especially the past few years before that, it was like the NFC least. That's what we were called, the NFC least, right? And now, like, what was it? A couple years ago, the Eagles were division. We were winning division, and our record was like 4-6-1, right? And we were division. It's like 3 years ago, some shit like that. But anyway, the Cowboys are definitely in some kind of position to at least combat what we were doing last year, more than any other team in the NFC, I think. So that's one of the positive things I'll say about you and your stupid Cowboys. All right?
No team. There's only, I'm sorry, not no team. In the past 30, it's over 30 years. I don't know. It's 30 plus years. Only 2 teams in history have lost the Super Bowl and then got back the next year. And it was the fucking Broncos, and they lost. And it was the Patriots. After we beat them in 2018, they got back the next year, and they beat the Rams and won. That's it.
So
are you saying no team has lost the Super Bowl and then won the following year?
No, the Patriots have.
Only 2. You're saying only 2 teams have done that?
No, only 2 teams have gotten back The
I
Broncos
mean, the
got
Bills.
back and they
The
lost
Bills were
again.
in 4 back-to-back Super Bowls and lost all.
Or was it? No, it was the Bills. It was the Bills. Bills or the Broncos. It was the Broncos. They got back.
But the Bills
lost.
did it 4 times
They
in a
lost
row.
what?
He's saying after the first time losing, right, in the Super Bowl.
After the first time losing.
There's only been 2 teams after the first time getting there. I guess losing it.
I don't know. This doesn't make sense to me because the Bills went 4 times in a row.
Not the first team.
This is not our first time going to the Super Bowl. I don't understand where the stat is.
It wasn't. Okay, in the last 30 years, only 2 teams have lost the Super Bowl. Not their first Super Bowl, have lost the Super Bowl and gotten back the next year.
Only 2 teams?
Yeah.
So the Bills has to be one of those teams because they literally lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. The Bills are 4 of those teams.
How awful would it have been to be a fan of that team?
Of the Bills?
Back then, man. Oh my. But one thing
we
thought it was bad losing NFC Championship games in a row.
Yeah.
You to lose the Super Bowl.
I mean, that was in the Eagles' dark era too. Like it was nonstop NFC East teams beating the Bills in Super Bowls, and we're like, Eagles are just left out of that party.
What I will say is though, like going into next year, I think the Eagles may have a higher ceiling than the Cowboys, but I think they also have a lower floor. Or they have, a lower floor.
No.
I think the Cowboys have a higher floor than the Eagles because when you look at the Cowboys offseason this year, pretty much all the players that they're losing, like Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, we'll have a little bit more turnover than you guys do for sure. So,
yeah, you know, and they're keeping Dan Quinn, which is, I mean, that's huge. But one thing I'll say about the Eagles is I think next year they're probably going to have to be more reliant on their offense compared to what they were. And they were a really good offense this year. But like those games where their defense won them the game against like a team like the Colts or somebody like that,
yep.
Their offense is.
There's a few games like that where it's like, oh, thank God our defense is the shit.
And I don't think the defense is going to be like bad next year. It's more so
there's some question marks. There's some question marks with some of the people that are leaving.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like that's why I think the Eagles would be foolish to not draft defense for those first 2 picks. Like to me, I think the Eagles are in this draft in a really good position because yes, they don't have those like day 3 picks. They're pretty much wiped out of them, but they can trade that number 10 pick. Still, like there's 3 cornerbacks that are going to be available within that range.
I wouldn't hate if they traded back.
You missed both. You fucking bum.
I look at those cornerbacks, like Devin Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez, Joey Porter Jr. Like they're so close to each other. And if the Eagles want to trade back to, I don't know, 13 or 15, they're still going to get one of those guys. So they're going to get a good player and they're going to get assets on top of that. The bigger question is, okay, what are they going to do at 30? Because I think it's pretty clear what
I say trade it out, go back to the second.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you know, my thing is I think when you're in that position in the later first round, I always say it's never a bad idea to trade back in the draft because at that point, you're pretty much wiped out of all your first round grades regardless, right? So, you know, most teams have 16 first round grades. So you're at that position, you're drafting somebody with a second round grade. So if you're going to draft somebody with a second round grade, at least draft them in the second round and get more assets for them. You know, but I mean, there are.
Plus, if that guy in the second round turns out to be a stud, you don't got to pay him right away. Earlier.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, no, 100%.
And you're already gonna draft a guy in the first round with 10 or wherever they go, and you're gonna have to pay that guy the same time as you're gonna have to pay the guy that you pick at 30. So why not just trade back, get some more assets, and
and that's the thing,
be
right?
Smart about it.
I personally believe that Howie Roseman right now is the best executive in football, but one area that he's struggled with is the draft. He's picked up some really nice players. Don't get it twisted. Like their entire offense is pretty much drafted. So he's picked up some good players in the draft, but the misses that he's had in the draft have been so monumental. And granted, he's been able to work his way out of it, for his sake. Like, all right, cool. They didn't draft Rager back in 21. They were able to trade.
Well, don't say his name, man.
Well, they were
Don't
able
talk about him anymore.
But I mean, they ended up getting AJ Brown, who I actually think AJ Brown's he's not better than Justin Jefferson, obviously, but I think he's a better fit with Jalen Hurts compared to a Justin Jefferson, if that makes sense.
It does, and he's a beast too. And you think about the fact that he wants to stay with
Plus,
Jalen
they have
Hurts.
chemistry. They have chemistry too because they're like
homies.
best friends.
Like you could definitely see AJ Brown sticking around despite pay, based on staying with Jalen Hurts. I mean, obviously, he still wants to get paid. He's already getting paid. He's getting paid pretty good.
He's top of the market.
But Hurts is going to get paid. Obviously, he even went out and said this: if they don't pay Hurts, he's going wherever Hurts goes. Obviously, he knew. But I feel like that also swings both ways. He'll if it comes down to whatever. I don't know what his contract is, how many years his contract is for us, but if it comes down to any decisions like that, I guarantee you he'll probably take some kind of at least semi-friendly.
Who, AJ?
Yeah.
AJ was
to stick
AJ's
with Hurts.
4 years, 100 million.
4 years, 100 million. So he's already got a pretty fucking good payday. So he doesn't have to worry about shit. At least for he's got the next 3 years, right?
AJ's
So he's got 3 years left on that. Yeah. So it doesn't even matter. It's not even worth talking about because he got 3 years left on that.
One thing,
and you still got Devontae for another.
That's what I was about to ask.
2 years on his rookie
Skinny Batman.
Contract.
Skinny Batman.
I was about to ask, do you think they'll be able to keep Devontae Smith, because he's going to be a guy that's going to command 20 plus million? So if you're paying your quarterback 40 plus million,
Don't
you have
let
another receiver that's making 25 million. Are you going to pick the receiver? By that point, Devontae Smith will probably be a $25 million receiver by that point, like judging where the market's going. So that's the question. Are they going to be able to keep Devontae Smith? Because you're seeing with the Bengals, they're not going to be able to keep T. Higgins. Come next year when they're Jamar Chase, the Bengals ought to just trade T. Higgins while they can, and try and get, like a Quentin Johnston type character in the draft, because they're not going to be able to pay. They're not going to be able to pay him and Jamar Chase, because Jamar Chase is going to get a big contract, and so is Joe Burrow. Yeah. So I think, a year from now, I don't think it's out of the question to think that there could potentially be trade talks around Devontae Smith.
Yeah, ain't the cap supposed to be raised too? Maybe I think I heard something like that. I don't know, but
it is a lot to control.
I don't know, man.
And I was saying this about
that's so far away right now. I can't even really fucking worry about that. I mean, it's March. We just got out of football season a month ago, and we're already talking about when Devontae Smith's contract's going to be up in 3 years or whatever it is for stuff. But I'm more concentrated. I know it's something you got to think of. It's in the back here. But right now, it's all the draft.
Yeah. And you got to think though, what Howie did too is not only like, I know he's saying that he's a great executive and that stuff, like the moves that he did do is great, but then you can't, some of the mistakes that he did make, but some of the stuff that happened after the 2007 Super Bowl really kind of like hurt too, where he's keeping players well over their prime and stuff like that, keeping Fletcher Cox, that kind of type of player, and signing them, stuff like that could really hurt right now too, and that's what we're saying.
Look, in a week and a half, on March 15th, we'll know a lot more of how this team's going. When free agency kicks in and people start signing and people start moving, that's when you'll see where everything I think is really going to go. Yeah. And then you can see, everything a little bit clearer. Like, all right, we're losing this guy, we're losing that guy, or even like this guy's going to the Cowboys, or the Cowboys are losing this guy, or like, where's Rodgers going to go? Is fucking Trey Lance going to be the guy? Is it a whole lot of questions that they're going to be answered after the whole first wave of free agency comes through, and then you'll have the draft. Trades will happen on draft night. You know that.
The question.
So
you want to know? You want to know what I'll tell you this right now? If I were to tell you who I think the top 5 teams are, I think there's, for next.
Dallas.
They're in the top.
Dallas.
They're in the top.
The Cowboys, the Lakers,
Hold on. I'd go
Spit on fire.
Eagles, 49ers, Cowboys. One of those 3 teams I think are going to win the conference. But 2 teams that I think are actually going to be teams to look out for. Obviously, like everybody knows about the Lions and everybody's drooling over them right now. The Carolina Panthers, I'm telling you right now, if they can get a quarterback, they have a very solid football team over there.
I had them better last year than before the season started. I had them better than they were, so I kind of.
So if they trade up for a CJ Stroud, which I think they should, because I think CJ Stroud is the best quarterback in the draft. Like, a lot of people are talking about Bryce Young, and then there's people talking about Levis and Richardson. I actually like Levis. I think that
JG Casey says, "Is that Cowboy Chris?"
Bryce
Young.
She said, "Is that Cowboy Chris?"
So short.
Yes,
man.
it is.
Dude, Bryce Young is it's bad how short he is. He's like 5'10".
Yeah, man. When I seen him next to that dude, I was like,
"Oh,
man.
Austin's Plumbing Service joined. What's up, Austin's Plumbing Service? Yo, if you need plumbing, if you need plumbing, Austin'sPlumbingService.com. That's literally one of the sponsors of our show. Austin'sPlumbingService.com. Get some plumbing, fix your pipes.
Yeah, get your pipes
clean. He will fix your pipes and clean them.
He'll come to your house. He'll come to your house. He won't admire the quality of your pipes, but he will fix the shit out of them."
Yeah, but
crazy.
I do think Carolina though is a team that, I mean, granted, I don't think they're gonna be a team threatening to win the conference or anything, but I think they're gonna be a solid football team next year. Their offensive line,
what's your 5th team?
Better than people give them credit for. DJ Moore's really solid. Brian Burns, J.C. Horn, they're not too far away.
Yeah.
Derek Brown as well, the kid from Auburn. That kid's a monster as well. They got a good team. I think they're going to have a good team over there if they find the right.
What's the other team? You said top 5. That's 4.
Lions.
Oh, the Lions. Yeah, I think I think that's a little more obvious than. I guess it's not always obvious because it's the Lions.
Yeah, and that's my hesitation with them, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think they are gonna. I think
they had the School of Hard Knocks last year, and then they came out like they have some offensive weapons, obviously, and you look at the first game of the week, right? Week 1, the Eagles and the Lions, right, and it was like a barn burner, right? Like ridiculous score. It was the most crazy score, and they almost came back and won. And Eagles already had almost 40, and then they almost came back, right? And everybody was talking about that, but the Lions sort of still they lioned themselves through the season, right? But yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Well, and then not only that, right? They have 2 first-round picks as well. If you were to tell me going into the season that the Rams pick was going to be higher than their pick, I would have called you crazy.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
They're in an interesting spot because they're at pick 6.
What happened to Brennan?
What's that? Oh. I don't know. He turned his phone around and then just randomly.
Oh, all right, I'm sorry I cut you off. Go ahead, keep going.
So they're at pick 6, right? So I think these 4 quarterbacks are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I think whatever team needs to trade up for a quarterback is going to trade up for their quarterbacks. So they're going to be in an interesting situation because they might be in a situation to go get Anderson or Carter or even Tyree Wilson. So if they add one of those guys to their Tom Brady and Mike Evans are at the UFC event. I just saw that pop up there. But no, if they get one of those guys, because they're going to get one of those three guys.
That's gonna be rumors. Tom Brady is hanging out with Mike Evans at the UFC event. Tom Brady's he's gonna come back out of retirement.
Oh my God! But yeah,
play for the Patriots, and then Mike Evans is gonna follow him.
Yeah, but they're gonna add a stud on defense, man. They're gonna add a stud on defense with that pick, and then they're gonna be able to probably go draft another stud for their defense that already has Hutchinson on it.
Yeah,
Malcolm Rodriguez had a pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, Aiden Hutchinson's so good, man.
Yeah.
I going into that draft last year, I thought Thibodeau was better, but then I see all the shit that he's been doing this year, and I'm like, this guy's a fucking knucklehead. Like this just Saturday, that's just inexcusable, man. Like, dude, a guy's laid out there. All right, fine. You do the go to sleep, or you do the celebration while the guy's down. Then you go on the sidelines and you do another celebration after you probably know that the guy's seriously hurt. And then in an interview, you're talking about Jeff Saturday, a Hall of Fame player, and you're saying, oh, I don't know who that is. All right, well, you could say that, but I can look at you and say, you don't fucking know football if you don't know who Jeff Saturday is.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't give a fuck about Jeff Saturday. We got Jalen Sunday. That's an actual quote. That's an actual quote from one of the Eagles guys. Well, but right before we played the Colts, I was watching their the show, the Eagles Unscripted show, and fucking who's the dude came from the Rams. Dude who came from the Rams. He's like a personnel guy or whatever. Fucking forget his name. But anyway, he said that. I thought it was funny that you reminded me of that by saying that. But yeah, you're right. If you don't know who Jeff Saturday is, you're probably lying.
Yeah. You're either lying or you're just you're stupid when it comes to football, and that's the thing, right? Like
Brendan said, his baby woke up.
These players
is Jess still watching? Jess, the baby woke up. Let Brendan continue the show, Jess.
You want to know what's funny? Like these players that are like, oh, I played in the league or I played D1. I don't give a shit. It doesn't mean you know football. Like, dude, I watched, the tape of some of these kids throwing to these wide receivers. And I'm like, if you're going to sit here and flex about you playing D1, dude, I just saw you miss a wide open tight end going across the middle of the field and you throw the ball. You underthrow a guy on a streak that had a safety draped all over him. Shit like that. To where I'm like, dude, I don't care where you played. It doesn't mean that you're in any position to talk about football compared to somebody like us.
Hey, the Black Ops Analytics team, I don't think any of them played football. I think they're just smart people that can, like you're saying, you can analyze the game like that. There's a difference between analytics and actually playing.
Yeah.
You can't really digest analytics while you're playing. You can only do it after you're playing while you're not playing, actually. That's like fact.
And that's the funny thing, right? Like you'll have some of these guys that'll say some stuff like that, but then they'll have shitty technique. They'll be skipping film session.
Yeah.
The only thing that they bring to the table is that they're athletically gifted.
Yeah. And then you can see it
it's
the
common.
board, not only
it's common
football, you see it going across the board in sports these days. John Morant right now, pulling the shit he's pulling. It's like you've been gifted with this talent, and it's just.
Hey, that's why some of the most
unreal, man.
The longer lasting, some of the more it's starting to happen now. Like the more longer lasting, better athletes are the ones that are. They're gifted, they're athletically gifted, and they're in the film room nonstop. Right? They're in the film room 100%, and they're analyzing. I mean, if you're a quarterback, you have to be that, right? You cannot not be in the film room if you're a quarterback. It's impossible. It's impossible for you to just rely on your athletically gifted, talented at the NFL level, right? You can get all the way through the college level with your athletic gifts, but if you're not a film nerd, you're not going to last in it. You're not going to do anything in the NFL.
Yeah.
So at the quarterback position, so I guess there's some other positions though that you can, but still, that's the way the NFL is moving nowadays. You have you have to be both. You have to be athletically gifted, and you also have to be a film nerd if you really want to be at the top of your game and the most successful. But if you are athletically gifted, like really athletically gifted to make it to the NFL level, and you're not a film nerd and that's not your thing, you can survive, I'm sure. You can live.
No, yeah, certainly, yeah, definitely. Because I mean, in certain positions,
Depending
like
on the position.
yeah, like defensive end, they look at that and they're just like, yeah, just use your speed to bend the corner and get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Like just shit like that. Like there's positions where it's like, all right, it is what it is. This is your role on the team, and it's very straightforward.
Imagine boxers going into their fight. Like imagine big name boxers going into a fight without studying the opponent, right?
Oh, they'd be done. They'd be toast.
Imagine that. Imagine if you saw a boxing match where neither, even if it was both, neither fighter studied their opponent. They're both going in with their raw natural skills. You might not know what you're looking at. You might not know what you're looking at. Who knows what you'd see.
Oh yeah, especially in boxing because you're picking up tendencies from different fighters and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I mean, even in football as well. Like, film in football is the most important thing. Like, out of any other sport, film in football is more important than any other sport because there's so many nuances when it comes to football that if you're a team and you're playing another team and you're not watching film and you're not, in the film room all the time, like these coaches, every coach in the league is in the film room countless hours a day.
That's why Belichick was in the film room before he beat us in the Super Bowl that year.
In our film room?
In our film room.
By the way, speaking about coaches for bad football teams, what do you think about that D'Amico Ryans hire?
Man, that's a good question. I love D'Amico Simba. He spent time in Philly. I loved him while he was here. I think he is definitely he's got to be a good defensive coach, and people got to love him. I mean, I guess it was a good hire. I can't really say like I love it, but like,
yeah,
I do like him as a player. When he was here, I do like that he became a defensive style coach, like that. I feel like players gotta love him just like I do, right? Just more than I do.
I wish he never became a defensive coordinator. His coordinated defense, 2 defenses that he's coached over the last 2 years beat us in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. See, I haven't had that point of view, but yeah, you may. Yeah,
that's a good point.
You know what though? Like, I mean, I guess I can see what you're saying. Like the hire sucks. Don't like it because it was a good hire.
No, I love that they hired him because he's in the AFC and we don't have to worry about his defense anymore. He does because like when you look at the 49ers, they have some talented players on their defense. There's so many more defenses that are more talented than them. Like the Eagles are a more talented defense than them. I think the Cowboys are a more talented defense. I think the Jets are more talented. I think the Ravens are more talented.
I love how you threw the Jets in there after the Cowboys just to try to catch us off guard. Like, oh, the Cowboys are better than them. The Jets are better than them before anybody could say, hey, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, dude, the Jets had a really solid defense this year. But I mean, like,
I have one friend who's a Jets fan. I should invite him on the show.
You know what? I hope the Jets finally do something this year. Like they've been a team that have sucked for as long as I've been alive, outside of like a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, since Mark Sanchez. Those couple years with the Sanchez,
the butt fumble.
Good, yeah, the butt fumbler.
I'm still trying to get my hands on an Eagles Sanchez jersey, bro. They're expensive. There's only like 2 of them out there, and they're like $300. It's like I'm not trying to fucking buy a fucking $300 Sanchez jersey. I want a $20 Mark Sanchez jersey of the Eagles that I could just have because
the Sixers just beat the hottest team in basketball. Just
nice. Yeah, well,
did
that's
they
good.
actually win?
That's good, I guess.
Yeah, they're about to win. It's like 5 seconds left, and they're winning 133 to 127.
nobody's still excited. Nobody's excited.
Yeah.
No, I'm not either.
They're going to beat the hottest team in basketball. No one's going to care at all.
You'll hear all the 97.5 guys. They'll be like, "Yeah, we called you, dude." Like they lost to Miami, and dude, they were making a list of excuses this fucking long. I'm like, dude, they lost. Like, unfortunately, the Sixers are so, like, dude, they beat the Bucks.
You know what I fucking hate about this team? You know what I hate about this team? This Sixers team specifically is that, like, yeah, they just look. They're about to beat the Bucks, right? They'll hang their hat on that. They'll hang their hat on that. They don't have that. They don't have that emotional fortitude to keep fighting through the season.
Around.
And it's constantly like that. Like with the Sixers, with Embiid and everything. Like, and it's just like I'm tired of watching them. Honestly, I'm tired of watching the Sixers. I really am.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? Like, the Sixers have done this before. Like, they've beaten the Bucks late in the season.
Yeah, this is the same old song.
And in Milwaukee too. I think they beat them in Milwaukee at the end of the year one time. I'm like, my thing with the Sixers is it's been years and years of bad decisions being made that have led to this point. Like, dude, we shouldn't have had to have traded for James Harden. Like, when you think about it with the Sixers, it's not even just like, okay, you had to draft Ben Simmons. He was a generational talent coming out of college. Okafor was a shitty pick. Hinkie wanted to draft Porzingis, but I think he felt pressure from, other people in the front office to draft Okafor if they weren't going to get D'Angelo Russell that year. But yeah, I mean, they drafted a flat-footed center when they didn't need a center. They drafted I was so good here with my phone. They drafted what's his name? I don't even blame them for drafting Markelle Fultz, because coming out of college, like, that was the right pick. What happened with the motorcycle?
It's crazy how much of a bust he was.
But then, like, my problems came in the recent years. Like, you had Mikal Bridges, but I wanted them to draft Michael Porter Jr. Like, that's who I wanted. I was like, all right, fine, he's dealing with injuries. If this kid can stay healthy, he's a damn good player. And he's stayed healthy in Denver. He's been a damn good player. But they pass up on Michael Porter Jr. Fine, you draft Mikal Bridges. Ended up being a good player. But then you trade him for Zaire Smith.
Not even in the league.
He was an undersized player at the two-guard position as it was. I think he was 6'3", 6'4", and his main calling card was defense. Those guys never translate to the league. And then they draft Matisse Thybulle over Kevin Porter Jr., who I really liked Kevin Porter coming out of school. And now, granted, Kevin Porter Jr. is not like a guy that's lighting the league on fire. I think he's like a 20-point-a-game scorer or something like that. But even still, if he's coming off the bench, if he's coming off the bench and he's giving you 15 to 17 points a night, that's fine with me. And then they ended up a few years ago, they drafted Jaden Springer over, they could have traded up to draft Cam Thomas. I wanted Cam Thomas. I was like, man, shit, go get Cam Thomas. That kid can play. And they stay put. They let the Nets draft Cam Thomas, and we draft Jaden Springer, who is I watched Jaden Springer since high school, since he was at IMG. Great high school player, good college player. Knew he would never translate to the pros because he's a 6'2" shooting guard. And those guys, unless you're 6'2" and play point guard and can facilitate, you're not playing at the next level. That's just too small. Unless I think Donovan Mitchell's like 6'3", 6'4". He's just a special type of talent. Like he's a physical specimen. But it's been years and years of bad decisions. And then the Jimmy Butler situation, like,
oh my goodness.
Yep. Yeah. We're sitting on a pile of shit, basically.
So it kind of goes up to the organizational ranks. I would think, like, when you have like your owners don't really care. Like it seems like and that's just how some of the teams here are going that way now. It's crazy. Like the Flyers, man, just as an example, like with the ownership, it's just like
we're gonna talk about Flyers right now. We're gonna talk about Flyers.
It's just crazy, man. Like you see Laurie, man. He came in when he bought the Eagles. It's just how it changed since he's owned the team, and it starts. We talked about this in the past where, it trickles down from has an organizational aspect too, where you have these owners that just sometimes just don't care, and it's really like hurting the teams.
Oh yeah, the Sixers owner, he's battling with if they're gonna get the stadium in the fucking fashion district now. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, he's
been trying to move out of South. He's been trying to move out of South Philly forever now. He tried to get over to Delaware Avenue. That fell through. That didn't work. Now he's trying to get into Center City.
Like he's trying to buy the Commanders. He owns the Devils. Like it's money, I guess.
Fucking Kevin Durant owns the Union, bro. They're fucking trying to get us, bro. They're trying to get us.
Hey, look, the Union are a good team now.
Yeah, man. They also lost the championship this year.
Yeah.
You want to know what? I need to find whoever started the "It's a Philly" thing. They deserve to get their ass beat. ever since people started saying that, they've been doing. I mean, granted, I was happy that it worked.
It's all over the Citizens app, man. Every time somebody gets robbed, they're like, "It's a Philly thing."
Oh my goodness.
It's oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm happy it worked in my favor. Look, here's my thing. There are 2% of Eagles fans that I really like and I can talk football with. And I'm happy for them when the Eagles win. And then there's 98% that I want to jump out of a window when I hear them talk.
We feel the same way about Cowboys fans.
Exactly. Yeah, as you should. But you want to know what? I feel the same way about Cowboys fans as well. There are a lot of annoying Cowboys fans. And it's not even from the perspective of...
Usually they're all from the Philadelphia area, though.
Well, you want to know it's funny? Like, dude, people will say, like, oh, Cowboys fans, they just think they're winning the Super Bowl every year. Dude, if you see my comment section, it's all Cowboys fans saying, as a Cowboys, not all, but there's a lot of comments that are like, as a Cowboys fan, I got to say, Dak sucks. He's not going to win us a Super Bowl. Dude, it's way more of that than it is, oh, we're going to win the Super Bowl next year. Like, I think the Cowboys fan base gets a bad rap by people like Stephen A. Speaking as somebody who is big in that community, there's a lot of negative ass Cowboys fans. And those are the people that I hate because it's just like, all right, look, like we were in the playoffs and they're like, oh, Dak's not the guy. He's not going to get the job done. It's like, all right, well, how about you just shut the fuck up and support the guy? How about you just support him instead of wanting him to fail so that you can tell people how right you are?
That's common among all fan bases, though.
Oh yeah, but it's I'm telling you, it's so common amongst.
Hey, Cowboys. Look, I don't know very many Cowboys fans from the Dallas area, right? You're not from the Dallas area, right? No. I know you're not. You're from here, and that's why we love you. But literally, like most Cowboys fans I know are from this area, right? That's my whole life. Very recently, I've met a couple people because I work at a job now I work remotely for a company that is based around the country. So there's some people in Texas that I work with, a few people, and they're not as diehard of football fans as we are, but they're football fans and they're Dallas fans because they're from or near the Dallas area. And same thing you said though. Like when I talk with them, they say the same thing. Like Dak's not the guy. Like I've heard, like this is what they talk to me whenever we talk, because they know me as like I'm the most diehardest Eagles fan of the entire company. Everybody knows me. Everybody says "Go Birds" when they see me. Even the Dallas people from Dallas, they say "Go Birds" to me, right? Because it's crazy. But they say the same when we talk like serious about like football a little bit. They say the same thing this year before the season ended. Like, oh yeah, Dak's just not the guy. Dak's not the guy. I've heard that from Cowboys fans too. So I know that you're right. That's what a lot of people say. But you know what though? It's the same fucking thing here in Philly. The same exact thing here in Philly. We were saying Jalen's not the guy before the season even started, right? Everybody was saying it. Jalen's not the guy. Well, most of us were like, well, some of us were like on this show. We were saying, we don't know if Jalen's the guy, and he's really got to take a step forward to be the guy. And like, we doubt it, right? We doubt he's going to be the guy, but we hope he is. And he turned out to be that. He turned out to take that step forward. But most of the Philly fans were the same way. Like, oh yeah, we gotta find a new quarterback quick, even before the season started, right?
Well,
So,
it's funny to me. Oh, what were you saying?
No. I was gonna say the same exact thing. I was gonna say it's funny to me. What are you gonna say?
It's funny to me because like I'll talk to some of the fans, and I'll ask them some questions. I'm like, yeah, so you don't think Dak's the guy? You don't think he's a very good quarterback? And they're like, no. I'm like, what about McCarthy? Do you think he's a good coach? And they're like, no, he's not a good coach. I'm like, okay, what about the front office? Do you think they do a good job? And they're like, no, they don't do a good job. And I'm like, all right. So then why have they won 12 games in the last 2 seasons? Like, that is objectively very good. And they're like, oh, I hear the dumbest shit. Like, any given Sunday, they played a bunch of bad teams. And I'm like, dude, like, they won 24, if you want to count the one playoff game, 25 games in the last 2 years. You're going to play a good football team. Yeah. You're going to play multiple good football teams, like, throughout that time. So, to me, it's just like, when I ask, I'm like, you're mad. Like, what are you mad about? Like, there are at least 25 other teams in this league that wish they were where the Cowboys were.
Oh yeah.
And that's my problem. It's like they're like, oh, we haven't won anything in so long. Like,
I think it might hurt more because the Eagles were better. It definitely does. It has to. I know it does when it's vice versa. If the Cowboys if it was reversed and the Cowboys were in our shoes and we were in the Cowboys shoes, we'd probably be the same way. We'd be like, fucking shit. We would finish the season 12 and something, right? But the Cowboys finished 14 and something. We'd be pissed. None of us would be happy.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, as soon as the season was over, it was just like, all right, I'm not like worried about the Eagles because we're not going to play them. It is what it is. The way I look at it is just like, all right, now you got to build a team to beat them, just like you would build a team to beat whoever you lost to in the playoffs, or whoever's ahead of you. And
the Eagles did it for years. The Cowboys were the dominant team in the 90s, and then the Eagles and every other team were looking up like, all right, well, we got to do something to combat that shit. Yeah, well, that's why I said to you earlier in the show. I said that my biggest I'm concerned about the rest of the NFC catching up to the Eagles, because the Eagles were clear best team this year. And they've done some things that is going to show the rest of the NFC, like, all right, this is what we can do to combat that. The Cowboys are the next team right behind the Eagles that are the closest team to be able to do anything to counteract what the Eagles were doing.
And I honestly think, like, the 49ers, to me, I think they hit their ceiling, to be honest.
I think they're going to drop off. I think the Niners are going to drop off for sure.
They're not going to be able to hold all their guys either. I think they're going to have to trade a couple of people too. So
I think the 49ers are in for a drop off. They're talking about like, this is what they're hanging on. Like, if Tom Brady comes out of retirement, we're gonna get Tom Brady. That's what they're hanging on. That's what they're hanging.
I think we hit it on it earlier, where it's like you got these teams like Detroit and Carolina you're gonna turn a new wave. And
you know what? I didn't even think about Detroit until Chris said that.
Yeah.
It's totally right.
Totally agree with that, man. It's the new waves coming through.
Well, you want to know what? They do have something to hang their hat on. They can tell themselves, oh, well, if we would have had our quarterback, we would have won that game. They can hang their hat on that.
That's why they are gonna sit on that forever, bro. That's their Super Bowl.
It's gonna be the Rams. It's gonna be the situation with the Saints all over.
I know. I said to you earlier in the show. I said I'll only say one nice thing about the Cowboys, But I'm going to say a second nice thing about the Cowboys. And you guys should have fucking beat the Niners. It would have been a much more exciting. The NFL paying fans of the football of the NFL would have had a much more exciting game than the Eagles versus the fucking 49ers. I absolutely was honestly, as we had a show before the divisional round, and we all said, I think Sean said it. He said we want the Cowboys to win because they're the worst team. But in retrospect, I think that was wrong. I think if the Cowboys would have won, it would have been a much more difficult game. Well, obviously, I think if anybody would have won now, I think if it's not the Giants I think we had the easiest path between the Giants and the Niners. We blew them both the fuck out. Retrospectively, right? Obviously, 20/20 vision is in hindsight, right? But like, if it was any different, any other team aside from those two would have been much more difficult. Especially the Cowboys.
I think if Pollard stays in that game, I know it might sound like an excuse, and I hate to say this, but I think if Pollard stays in that game, I think they end up winning that game because what they did was
I agree. Pollard is a beast, man.
When Pollard left the game, what San Francisco and the worst part about it was not a lot. I didn't hear anybody talk about it. He got injured right before the half. So if he would have gotten injured at like the beginning of the third quarter, that would have been better for the Cowboys because at that point, then the 49ers are going into their locker room and they're making adjustments based off that new information. So they came out at the start of the half, 4-man fronts, light in the box, drop a ton of guys back in coverage. And it almost made it like damn near impossible for Dak to really make anything happen. I mean, like, look, he didn't play well that game. I'm not going to argue with anybody on that. But it also wasn't a very easy task for him, especially, I mean, like, look, and this is where I kind of get annoyed when people, look at Dak and say he's not the guy because they lost 1,500 yards of production going into this year. Not only that, but they lost 2 offensive linemen on an offensive line that was fresh off of letting up 31 pressures to the San Francisco 49ers in the previous year.
Yeah, y'all had to hire the hitman JP.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm looking at this and I'm like,
oh, I hated seeing him in a Cowboys uniform.
He was awesome though. Like he was.
He did. He played good. I'm not surprised to any of us.
He was a great
bodyguard, man.
Yep.
Even more so than just him being, a pretty solid player for them. He was just a great teammate for them as well. Yeah. Like when that kid Hendershot dropped the ball and pretty much handed it to the one Titans defender in that game, like the tight ends were trying to get to Hendershot, like, yo, man, just let it go, forget about it. Jason Peters, and you could tell his body language was still off. Like he was like, all right, guys, you're just saying whatever. Mm-hmm. Jason Peters goes up to him and he whispers into his ear, yo, don't worry about that shit. Let it go. We got your back. And then immediately after Peters said that to him, his chin went up, looked at him dead in the eyes and just nodded and just,
yeah, that's a motherfucker that you respect, dude. And a man amongst men, Jason Peters is, for sure.
I wasn't expecting him to play as well as he did.
What I loved was this. I posted that clip onto my TikTok, and I put in the comments, like I was talking to somebody about it, and I was like, the one thing I loved seeing was how much respect he had for Jason Peters. Like you look at how his body language was with the tight ends compared to Jason Peters. And then somebody in the comments was like, well, he should have respect for all of his teammates. And this, I'm like, this is a Hall of Fame player.
Some people don't really know how life works,
Yeah, I'm like, there's just levels to this. And where, like, let's just say a Dalton Schultz is, Jason Peters is on a whole different stratosphere in terms of the caliber of players that they are. Maybe not at that point of their career, but just
somebody commenting on the video has probably no concept of something like that. Like that'd be like Elon Musk talking to me, right? Like Jason Peters talking to a young rookie, right? It's like I don't know. Like I'm just trying to think of the magnitude of it. You can't really fathom that. They can't really fathom that. You know, these dudes are in like crazy great scenarios. Even the young guy that was talking to JP, right? Like he's in a ridiculously like huge scenario, bigger than probably he can imagine himself. And Jason Peters, with somebody like Jason Peters who's done it for a long time. Yeah, it's either way.
So
all of us were
big
absolutely
thing,
sad
man.
to see Jason Peters get signed by the Cowboys just because we love Jason Peters, and you get to love Jason Peters too, just like we do, and we get to share
I always
that.
loved him. Oh
yeah, I mean, who doesn't? But no,
here's
it's
my thing. I love it. Like I love Jason Kelsey, one of my favorite football players. What's the kid's name? Landon Dickerson. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Plays for the Eagles. He's a tremendous player. So I just look at that and I'm like, look, like, you know, I respect his game. You know, like I'm a Cowboys fan, but I love football. And when I see great players, regardless of what helmet they're wearing, I look at that and I have respect for that compared to just the regular, oh, this guy on the Eagles sucks. No, he doesn't. He's actually
you're a better man than me, because when I see that Cowboys helmet, I just see hate. I just want to. I hate it. I don't like it.
Like Zach Martin. Like, do you respect a guy like Zach Martin?
Who's Zach Martin?
Their right guard.
Who's right guard?
Right guard.
Dallas.
He's
been there. I fucking hate him.
See, yeah, that I guess that's
look. I'll tell you this much. Look, I am a very, very, very passionate and emotional Eagles fan. I don't. When it comes to my teams, it's local or fuck you, right? I hate everything else, but it's just in that moment, right? Like, obviously, I respect the good players. I see the good players on Dallas. I see Dak and how really good he is. Almost as good as McNabb, right? You know, well, maybe a little bit better McNabb. He took over the chunky commercials, so I'll give him that. but no, seriously. Obviously, if the more I hate somebody on the Cowboys, that means the more I respect them. Yeah, like, I hate them because they're good, right? Like Zeke, dude's a fucking monster. Fucking hate his ass.
Not anymore, though.
Dak, I hate him. Right? I really hate Tony Pollard, man. Dude is a fucking beast. I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a beast, man. He's a fucking beast. And like you said, when he got injured in that game, that was probably the most devastating thing, especially at the timing of it, for sure. He's a beast. I hate him more than I hate Zeke because he's such a beast. It's like Zeke gets his Instagram touches, and then Tony Pollard gets like fucking 20-yard rips, right? It's like, so I don't know, but yeah. And when JP got signed there, even though I thought like, yeah, he's fucking old. He ain't gonna do shit on the Cowboys. He still played pretty fucking good, and now I hate him.
You want to know what? Two players that I fucking despise on the Eagles, but it's in the same way that you dislike certain players on the Cowboys. I fucking hate AJ Brown. Fucking hate the guy. I fucking hate CJ.
Well, he's definitely the kind of guy you hate if he's your opponent, because he's a shit talking dude. He's a very arrogant, and he's very good. So
yeah, 100%. CJ Gardner-Johnson, fucking
hate him. Oh yeah, he's somebody you hate on your team. Yeah.
Excellent player. And then
he's a total piece of shit. He's a big piece of shit, which is great for your team.
Hassan Reddick, fucking excellent player.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how you can hate Hassan Reddick. Like, I know how you can hate Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
Dude, he is amazing.
He's good. He's good, man.
He's amazing, and he does the gladiator thing. I fucking love that when he does that. He doesn't do it all the time, but sometimes he does the gladiator thing. The fucking boom. Oh man.
Yeah, that's one signing that
he's a monster.
At least for us, is one of the better ones from Howie.
Yes.
One thing I can't get behind is I can agree with Eagles fans to an extent, but when they start saying Hassan Reddick's better than Micah Parsons, I'm just like, I can't do it.
Dude, let me just tell you this. I
Well, it's two
fucking
different
hate Micah
positions
Parsons.
in a
All right.
sense, but it's not. You know.
When I tell you that I fucking hate him, that should tell you how good he is. 'Cause
Yeah.
I
Oh
fucking
yeah.
hate him.
Well,
He is an absolute monster. And you know who else I hate? But except for I like that he's injured all the time, but I hate him because he's really good.
Tyron Smith.
Xander Esch.
Oh, Van Der Esch.
Van Der
Oh,
Esch, whatever the fuck his name is. Dude, I mean, honestly, I feel like his injury status, I feel like that him and the other who's the linebacker, Sean Lee,
Sean Lee. Yeah.
right? Like fucking amazing talents, right?
Oh, yeah.
Incredible talents, but like always injured, right? Always injured. And I feel like that's the detriment of those two's careers. I feel like Van Der Esch is like even worse injured than Sean Lee.
No, I don't. You know what? I think
But
Sean
dude,
Lee.
but when he's playing, when he's like 100% and playing, like dude, he's all over the fucking field. Like I don't understand how he can do that. How good he's fucking. Well, he was at least. I don't know about last year. I feel like since Micah Parsons got into the league, Micah Parsons has been that like all over the fucking field type dude. Like it's crazy how good he is.
Oh yeah, 100%. One thing I'll say about Van Der Esch, he struggled in 21, but in 22 he came back and he was. I mean, he wasn't like an All-Pro or anything, but he came back and had a really respectful year. You know, he did a lot of good things for Cowboys last year, but you know, he's a free agent this year, and you're kind of looking at it and you're like, are we going to pay him $8-9 million? Because you can't franchise tag him. What's crazy is linebacker has one of the highest franchise tags in the entire league because because of the edge rushers. Like Hassan Reddick is considered a linebacker.
Yeah.
Von Miller is considered a linebacker. So for the off-ball linebackers, the franchise tag is still really fucking high because of the edge rushers.
Crazy.
Yeah. I think I may have heard something like that, but it seems like the Dallas and Eagles are doing drafting differently, and you guys seem like you did drafting based off best available. I could be wrong, but it just seems when you guys were, just from recent history from seeing me. Like I said, I may be wrong, but it looks like you guys picked up, at the time, CeeDee Lamb. And got Michael Parsons. Like you guys necessarily didn't follow suit on what the Eagles were kind of doing, where it was just D tackles, offensive linemen for the Eagles for like years and years. But now Howie, what he's done, it seems like they're starting to branch out and starting to realize the change of the league. So now they're going not only just thinking outside of the DTs and the offensive linemen, they're starting to look at the colleges in a sense too. Starting to hit heavy now in the SEC. That's looks like the change the Eagles are starting to make now too.
Well, one thing I will say about the Eagles is with their last two draft picks, they picked the two guys with the highest floors in the entire draft. Jordan Davis, to me, had the highest floor out of any player in last year's draft. Devontae Smith, to me, had the highest floor out of anybody else in the 2021 draft, I believe it was. Because I thought at the very least he was going to be a solid NFL player. And he turned out to be way better than that. I mean, he's another. I fucking hate that guy. I really hate him. But it's for a reason.
Yeah.
So there's different philosophy stuff. Definitely. The Cowboys are definitely a best player available type of team. Like when CeeDee Lamb gets to you at 17, it's like, are we really going to let the Eagles try and trade up and draft this fucking guy? And we're going to have to play for 10 years? No, let's draft him and figure everything else out later. Now, granted, when they drafted him, the next year, their defense was fucking atrocious. Fucking horrible. And then the next draft they drafted all defense. So that, I'm all for best player available, figure it out later.
That makes sense too, because it affects us, you guys drafted CeeDee Lamb, and who the fuck did we draft?
Yeah, exactly.
We don't even want to remember that shit. We want to block that shit off of our memory. Like CeeDee Lamb, like I do, and I know most of us do, but we absolutely look over and see what's going on there. Like the Micah Parsons and the fucking CeeDee Lamb dresses. Like these are splashes, right? The Zeke, right? These are some splashes. And obviously there's a little bit of a formula there for the Cowboys. They still kind of follow the formula from the 90s, right? They want those Michael Irvins. They want those fucking Emmitt Smiths, right? And it makes sense. Like, it's not like it's not a loser recipe, right?
Yeah, obviously with 12
wins. It's not a
you know,
loser recipe at all.
Yeah.
So like, it makes sense. Like, in a sense, we are like, yes, it's kind of an antiquated formula, but still, the Cowboys haven't been bad.
No,
but they haven't been great either, though. So we kind of
certainly
we like it and hate it at the same time. But like, still though, when it comes to the players' talents and like, I swear to God, we all loved Micah Parsons when he was in Penn State, right? Local guy. He's definitely an Eagles fan, but now we hate his ass because he's a Cowboy and he's really good.
Well, and oh man, I was actually talking to I had the general manager from the Vikings. He stepped down. The one that was in the video where that was like
when he was happy when we drafted.
They're like oh they drafted Rager, and I asked him about it, and I was like how surprised were you? They were like, oh, we were already like they were gonna draft some other guy. I forget who it was, but they were gonna draft somebody else. Like they already
not Rager.
Yeah, it wasn't Rager, but they had somebody else in mind, and they were like, yeah, we pretty much were, as soon as they drafted Jefferson, we were gonna turn the card in, and then because they had like a really high grade on Jefferson. They loved Jefferson. They thought he was better than Ruggs and Judy that year.
Well,
and then when
it's a pretty good grade.
And then when he
one's in jail. Where's Judy at? I don't even remember where Judy's at.
Judy's a good player.
I know he's good, but what? Oh, he was on. I know he's on Denver, but I guess that's why nobody really hears from him because he's on Denver.
But it was funny because I talked to him. I said to him, like, as a Cowboys fan, I got a lot of joy from that video where you laughed at the Eagles for not picking Jefferson, and he was like, I was flabbergasted. He was as soon as they, because he was like, we didn't really have an immediate need at the position, but when Jefferson was there, they were like, we can't pass up on this guy. So
yeah, but I know when that video surfaced, it was like salt in the wound. It was like, oh man, like you could see the genuine happiness in that video. Like they were so fucking happy. It's like, wow. And like that's definitely not scripted. That's real.
Oh yeah.
I'm so happy, man.
They were so happy. And that was definitely like, oh my God, what the fuck, Howie?
Yeah, but
that's one of those what the fuck Howie moments. But hey, he did make up for it.
Like he just said, maybe they had him ranked higher than Judy,
yeah, but
no one knew he was going to come out and be this.
But there's obvious things. There's totally obvious things that went missed by our scouting team, right? I don't want to just say Howie because Howie has a team of Howies, right? There's many Howies. He has many Howies working for him, right? Well, so like all of those little mini Howies, they fucked that up. They dropped that ball and they know it. And that's not that happened just once. Just once.
But it might have not like it could have changed time, it could have not,
Yeah, you're right. You know what? We might not have
never got Devontae.
We might not have won a Super Bowl.
Maybe Wentz is still there if Justin's
yeah.
Wow,
man, it's wild.
It's a shame
every time I think about it.
I was never a big Wentz fan, but it was a shame what happened to him, man.
Yeah.
I was a huge Wentz fan. Like,
oh yeah. I mean, once he got drafted, obviously, I was a huge Wentz fan.
I think if he gets, I think if San Francisco,
we got the ginger connection. You know what I mean? I love the gingers.
You know what? I'll say this: if San Francisco picks him up or like a Miami, I think he could be successful in an offense like that. Like I think that it's crazy. Like I think Tua is a better quarterback than Wentz, but I think Wentz would be way better in that offense than Tua is.
What, in the San Fran offense?
No, in the Miami.
Oh, the Miami offense.
Tua doesn't have an arm. Like people were telling me, oh well, in college he could throw the ball down the field. I'm like, yeah, that's college, but he also had like 2 hip surgeries, and you generate a ton of power on your throws from your hip. So that's kind of a big deal. So like I think in that vertical passing scheme that they have, you put Wentz in that offense, I think he'd do a perfectly fine job. Because I think if I'm a front office wanting to pick up Carson Wentz, I'm not saying give me the 2017 version. I'm saying give me the 2021 version where you were playing clean, efficient football. You might have not been taking your team over the top, but you weren't the reason why they were losing games. And in some instances, you won your team.
And Miami's a low stakes place too, right? Miami's not Philly, right? Philly is it's like, oh my God, if you make one bad move, Philly fans are gonna be on your ass. In Miami, like people don't give a fucking shit in Miami, man. Miami's a nice place. Miami's a real nice place. I've lived there for almost a year, and it's beautiful down there. And nobody really gives a fuck about football.
Well, because they're like, oh shit, we lost. What are we gonna do? Oh, that's right.
Oh, there's a beach. We have this beach called Miami Beach. It's beautiful.
And there's like a ton of fucking hot chicks there, and there's
all year round.
All year round. In Philadelphia, it's like your team loses.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you gonna do?
We're all fucking ugly here, bro.
Dude,
it's true. It's true. We ain't pretty. We're ugly when we win, and we're ugly when we lose.
Dude, I was in Orlando. I was on the phone with one of my buddies, and it's a Walmart on a Saturday night. And I said to him, like, give me 2 minutes. He gave me 2 minutes. I counted. It was almost like I was counting seconds. Dude, I shit you not, there was 24 chicks that I was like, yo, I would absolutely annihilate that chick. Like, not even just like, oh, she's like semi-attractive. It's like, no, I would.
And you were at a Walmart?
Chick.
Walmart?
At Walmart on a Saturday night. I looked, I was like, you got a Walmart around here.
Why Walmart is full of Instagram models, man.
Down there they were.
Yep.
Down there. But it's like you go to Walmart or like even a Target where you're gonna get a more
Target. You mean Target?
Target, yeah. You can go there on like a Saturday morning when everybody's doing errands and you're like maybe like a few chicks.
Yoga mom.
Here. So, well, all right, boys. I'm gonna finish up this UFC pay-per-view. I'm watching the co-main event and the main event, but it was awesome talking with you guys.
Man. Definitely.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show,
awesome,
man. Quarterback Factory Show, official member, Cowboy Chris.
Yeah, if you guys are talking draft, just let me know. I've watched a ton of prospects so far. I'll be able to give you guys.
Hey, if anybody's watching, I don't think anybody is watching, but if anybody's watching,
yeah.
Cowboy, is it Cowboy Beat or Cowboys Beat?
Cowboys Beat, just in the straight line, just Cowboys Beat, no
At
space.
Cowboys Beat, you can find them on all the socials, TikTok especially, the Instagrams, at Cowboys Beat. If you want to talk shit, if you want to like throw comment tomatoes at somebody, this is the guy. You can talk shit to him. He'll take it. He can take it.
Oh man! All right, thanks guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and talking shit with us, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, boys.
See ya
later.
Hey, Benny boy.
Play some league.
Do you want to?
Yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely. We're gonna play some fucking league in this bitch. Okay, these beers go down like liquid. Like
I'm just salivating hearing you drink it.
It's like some kind of liquid that I can't think of that go. What liquid goes down faster than beer? I don't even know. There is no liquid that goes down fast. I was gonna say these beers go down like water, but honestly, I drink beers much faster than I drink water. So I guess these beers are going down like beer.
As we always say, beer is beer when it enters here.
Right when it enters here. I always tell you, look, people. I say that to people that don't know you. I say that to people that don't know all the time. And you know what? You know how I say it? I say, look, man, a wise man once told me, beer is beer when it enters here. And they always crack up. And they probably think that I made it up or whatever, but I tell them, hey, wise man, it's a wise prophet saying, old, ancient, as old as time itself.
Oh, man.
Anonymous.
Hopefully there's not an update. So I ain't waiting for that shit. You ready to turn it over?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I gotta.
I'm gonna stream it.
All right, they get a whole stream of this. Nice. All right, I'll be right back. I'm not turning it off. I'm just.
We'll be right back. We're gonna play some League. Yo. We're live, you dickhead.
Talking to me?
Yep.
All right, well,
I can't see you though.
I know because I'm getting extension cord so I can charge my phone. Dickhead.
You dickhead.
All right. It's good. Yeah, it's not bad. There's my Eagles Reef. I'm gonna keep it up though.
I like it. Oh. All right. It's time to go upstairs.
Oh,
Sorry, bro.
oh man, you got the call, huh?
Yep.
Alrighty. No worries.
I love you.
All right.